This is my
Share copy.
good morning. I thought I would just log on a little early and do a little maintenance while we get ready. Oh, I'm wrapped around my cord. We are doing Life is Better in Full Bloom. I spent the morning like picking out. Look, there are my thread colors. And I just know that as we stitch, I'm probably going to change my mind. So, for me, more is more. More is more.
More is more better.
More is better. So, I'm gonna, like, I just kind of wanted to show you some of the colors. Like, I couldn't decide, like the pinks, I couldn't decide what pinks were gonna look best. And quite honestly, I was thinking I would go isocord pink, light, medium, dark. And then there's gonna be times where taffy looks the best, right here. And there's gonna be times where hot pink looks the best. So I have them all. I have them all. And, I was thinking what I could start doing is I could put together a thread chart. So, where's my list? I left this not in its plastic sleeve so we could add to it. And you can see I'm already, like, not able to make up my mind. But these were the not glide thread colors, but just the colors they listed in the very front of the book. So if you look in the front of the book, right here, or the front of your like instructions, it gives you a list of the embroidery thread colors. I'm hoping that Kimberbell will just put the glide colors in at some point because that's what they do their kits with, but who knows. In the meantime, I put all the colors in, and then I was putting down possible glide colors. Look how horrible my handwriting is. But I was like, maybe pistachio, maybe pale mint, maybe cool mint. I always feel like as we go, I change my mind. I'm really picky with my colors too. So I can't help but be matchy. That's just it's innate. It's just how I was born. So I'm going to grab these colors and I'm just going to put them over here to the side. And while we wait to get ready, here are my wonderful trays that help me feel organized. I don't know if it makes me organized, but it helps me feel a little more organized. I'll put this one right here in the front. My furniture is here. It's just been busy, and I knew I had this so long, and next week, I'm hoping that this week, I'm always hoping, never really quite works out that way, but I'm hoping this week I can work on finishing my Oh So Delightful, and then finishing this pillow. If I have a moment, I will try to stitch. Like, I'm hoping to continue stitching after the sew along's over. I'm going to change my needle. I can't remember the last time I changed my needle. I love this not only for changing the screw over here on the side and using it on my hoop, but I use it on my needle too. And I mean, of course it's like way too big, but you can see the screwdriver in there. So I just kind of look at it from the side and then put it on here, and you don't have to worry about it coming off. This should never be loose enough for you to undo by hand. If it is, you're not tightening it on with your screwdriver. One of the worst things I think is when you are working along and all of a sudden your needle shakes out, or your foot. Because for me, that always scares the bejesus out of me. I'm like, what's going on? This is well loved. So I'm going to just take this and wrap it in some fabric and throw it in my trash can. The real trash can, because Poppy's been stealing stuff in my sewing room. This is what she did yesterday. She's pretty destructive right now. She's not horrible. Like, we haven't lost a lot of stuff, but you gotta catch her. You gotta watch her. She is not to be trusted. All right, so my favorite needles, and I do have that needle notebook thing, and I'm like, when? So I'm gonna be gone. These are my favorite for embroidery. These are the Oregon anti-glue embroidery needles. I love 7511 because I go bigger needle, bigger hole. So as you go up, like, I rarely use a 9014 for embroidery. Not that I don't, but I rarely do. And when I'm not using my 7511 anti-glue, then I move up to an 8012 microtext, which is I think this is the best rounded needle out there. And the only thing you can't really do with this is going to be your knits, but this is what I piece with, and I embroider with these as well. So, but these are my favorite. They're my favorite, and they're anti-glue, and I use spray, and sometimes I go through sticky stuff, and even if you don't, even if you don't use spray, I love the color of these because these are a gunmetal color. So when I'm not using it and I stick it on this is where my needles go. But what are all these needles? I don't know. But I know this one because that one is a different color. So I love these. They're my favorite. My go-to. So when you put this in, you have a sight window here. And I want you to be really OCD about this. I want you to take it. I want you to go dunk, dunk, dunk and make sure it's going all the way up to the top. But do you see? I wonder if you can see it. You can't even see it because the dark color. But it is the top of this needle. I need something pointy. Oh, let's use my new stiletto. Look how gorgeous this is. Tula pink. You've done it again. So right up here, there's a little like metal ball that you can't even really see. But this should be hitting it, the top of it. You can see the top of the needle right here, right above the number 6. So up all the way. Hand tighten, and then tighten it a little bit more. We're not cranking it, just where you can undo it by hand. If you can undo it by hand, too loose. Good morning, everyone. It's a beautiful morning. Stitching Kimberbell. All right, needle is changed. Okay, the other thing is the other day, actually I can't remember if it was at the store or at the house, but it was either my cutter didn't work or my sensor didn't work, one or the other. So, I brought home those little cleaning things. Of course I don't know where I put them. Okay, we'll just go old school. Where's my cleaning brush? Sometimes I'll use a paintbrush. Sometimes I'll use... I have some harder bristled paint brushes. What I wanted is my quilt in a day, like those little... They're almost like little Q-tippy things. I wanted that because I wanted to clean this out. This is one of the wonderful things about a Solaris and a Luminaire. Just pull down. And I'm just going to give this a little sweep out just to make sure. Actually, this is not bad. I think it must have been our machine at the store. But I have several different brushes that I'll use. I think, do you remember Patrick talking about, uh-oh, Poppy's demanding to come in. We're going to ignore her for a little bit and see. She was actually really good last night. She came in and just napped, but then she started grabbing stuff. Don't remove this. This right here is has a purpose. It's not buildup. And don't remove this. This right here is next to your cutter and it holds the thread. And I'm pointing to this like little felt piece, okay? I'm actually not that dirty here, so I'm going to drop this back in. You have a little arrow here, and that little arrow should point to this little white dot. And when you put it in, don't ever force it. You want to just kind of put it in there and settle it in gently. There. Should have a little give, that much. And if you look right here, this thing right here is like a little nose. Let's zoom in a little bit. This right here is a little nose, and it should touch this metal thing. It should push against it. Do you see that? How it pushes it in? That's how you know you have it in right. That blob, which should be an arrow, should be pointing at that dot, those two things. And this little, I know it's hard to see, that little nose, when you push, should push this metal piece right here. Okay? All right. Never thought to use a paint. I like it because it's got like soft bristles, and I like it because I have a lot of them. But I have all of the other cleaning tools too. And I don't know where they are. So I just grabbed whatever was nearby. What I really wanted was my Quilt in a Day little, they're like those little brushes. I wanted that. Put it on here, push down. We're ready to go. Let me put a brand new bobbin in. I feel fancy, like Michelle Gilmartin or Shauna, because they would always like, you know, they were so good at making sure their machine was ready to go. And I'm always like flying by the seat of the my pants, so I'm always like, what needle's in there? All right, let's just start stitching. So now I know we're ready. My bobbin's in there. Everything looks gorgeous. We have our thread. Okay. Let's see what everyone we are glad the sun is shining here. I'm just looking at your notes really quickly to make sure I'm not missing anything. Hubby and I will be, have fun. Have fun in San Diego. It should be gorgeous, right? All right. Guess what I worked on last night too? My Shout Hooray spreadsheet. When I do my spreadsheet, I go through all of the designs and I just list them in order. And then I come and sit at my machine and I start to group them together to make sure everything fits right and to make sure that we can stitch it out as efficiently as possible. So I did my Shout Hooray spreadsheet, but I haven't like sat down at the machine to like group everything. So that's the hold up with that. All right. We are going to get started with the watering can. So I'm going to take us over here. Let's just go ahead and get hooped. Patrick and I'm getting a new filming system. So, because I struggle a little bit with this space over here. So I'm getting something new and exciting. And hopefully I'll have it for next week. And you know what? And it's going to be fancy because it's going to have like a switcher. So I'll be able to like instantly show this, instantly show that. And maybe I'll even show myself so we can like, I don't know, laugh a little bit together. All right. Let me come over here and see if we can get it like this. We're going to do watering can. So I just went on to like delete some things on my phone. I did my prep video last night and I guess I never posted it. So it's done. It's posting right now. So you'll be able to find that on there too. So if you're just watching, some of you are already done with this project because you're like, I can't wait for her. She's so slow. All right. Cindy, I cut my fabric so we could try the Cindy Lehman. We could try your method. So I'm really excited about doing that. Here's watering can. So this is what you should have. I wrote on here a little note to myself. You want a chenille cutter, your chenille brush. Found my chenille cutter. Here it is right here. Had my chenille, here it is. Here's my chenille brush. Any like really hard bristled brush is going to work. I want to say in the beginning they told you to use a nail file and I don't know. I actually used my finger. I was like, because I didn't have any of this stuff in the very beginning. I just used my fingernails. I was like a little cat. So we're going to use this and I do have Vanish thread. You know what, Cindy? I am very brave. This is the thing with me. If it's going to save time and make my life easier, then I'm going to try it. And I was looking at your picture and I was like, I can do this. I'm brave. it's going to save me time. I can do this. Okay, watering can. Let me get my list here. We are going to hoop up. You can use your, actually, I'm going to use the 8x12 because we're going to do, I'm stitching watering can and filler block 1. I put it right up here. In the, you can use a 7x12 or an 8x12. I'm going to use my 8x12. That way we're going to hoop watering can on top, filler block on the bottom. We're going to stitch watering can first, and then we'll stitch the filler block. But it's going to hold our place and let us know how much room we have. This should be it. I was looking for my muslin. Okay, I always get the question, why do I use muslin instead of stabilizer? And I use it because it's I like the way it feels, the end product. I like the way it feels. I feel like no-show mesh is a little bit plasticky. And I think it's cheaper. So I think it's cheaper. And at this point, stabilizer is so expensive. So if I can save you a buck, might as well. But more than anything, even if it was a little bit more expensive, I would buy it because I really just love it's softer feeling to me. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in here. This is when I'm doing an 8-inch hoop, like 8 inches wide, my 8x8 or my 8x12. I always cut my, I cut this 12 inches. So it's 12 inches across. I put in here for the border blocks. I think I put a special note in here. Did I? Oh, maybe I might have done it for the Shout Hooray pillow. Stitch at the same time. I can't remember. It might have been in my other one. You can hoop this way too. So let's say you're doing something and we'll turn this like this. You can have your piece long this way. So if you're doing strips here and you can only fit 2 at a time, you have all this extra, then stitch it out and then you're going to scoot your fabric this way. So you can do strips that way, which I think we're going to do. I put that in my notes for something, so maybe it's Shout Hooray. Getting everything confused. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put that in here. We're going to hand tighten. This is my hooping process. Then we're going to go ahead and gently pull in to make sure there are no puckers. And then you're going to get your hoop screwdriver, which I use this one. They make a special one that has a blue handle that is just for the hoop, but I use this for everything. It's my one and done product. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten that on. We have it on our website. It's $17.99. It's on there for $15.99. We are ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and take this and put it on my machine. I'm going to get my spray tent next because we're going to be spraying some stuff. And if you don't like spraying, you can go ahead and there's my dirty cardboard. So I'm going to set that up. And let's go ahead and load our design. Who is stitching today? You probably couldn't wait. And so Shelly, this is going to be a super fun sew along. Because the project's so fun. All right, first thing we're going to do is watering can. This quilt design is Spring 2 6x6. I think I had to put, I didn't have time to go through and pull out my quilting design. So I know I'm going through all my folders. I usually like to just clear it out and get straight here to PES. And here's spring, and we are doing spring 6x6. Here's 6x6. Go ahead and load that. I'm going to choose my hoop size. I had a 5x7 up here. It's just a good habit to choose your hoop size so you know how much room you have where you can scoot things. I'm going to be using the 8x12. Okay, I'm back out of my settings. We're going to go ahead and add to this. Just touch your add button. I have stuff in my lower port over here and I have stuff in my upper port. That's why I'm going between the two. Life is better. And we are doing the watering can. And I'm going to set it. And it says it's centered. So we're going to leave it like this. We're not going to move it on this page. We're going to move it on the next page, and we're going to bump it up. Slippery to me. On the subject of thread, I had ordered color they chose to send me. I thought the thread kits were to match the project specifically. So, Celinda, are you talking about like Oh So Delightful or what thread kit? And, you know, the thread color might be, if you're like me, matchy-matchy. I mean, some of the colors are going to be off maybe a little bit. Like, for instance, today, they're telling us to use cashmere for the stems of the mushrooms. And it matches one really well. It doesn't match the other one totally perfectly. So you might have to supplement. You might have to supplement a little bit. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and touch embroidery. We're going to go to this page, layout, and I'm going to scoot it all the way up. I'm not going to put the filler block. I'm going to do that afterwards because if I were to group them all, like, I couldn't, the other page, I couldn't just group this and not the filler block. So I'm going to go move. My hoop is on. If your hoop is on with the lever down, when you move it, you will not be able to move your design outside of the embroidery field. So I'm going to just go all the way up. Got a knock knock because that's as far as I can go. And first step, before I lead you astray, let's go to our instructions. I know, so today you're going to see I'm going to be using some Isacord. I'm going to be using some other colors because I just couldn't find the perfect color. I already did this fusible backing on my background piece, which is the polka dot. And then on the base pieces of each of these flowers, there's 3 different flowers, 4 pieces for each flower. The base piece is the base for your chenille. And we're going to go ahead and go, I'm going to go down here, or I go forward and backwards color. That is the placement line for my batting. Go ahead and stitch that out. Color isn't going to make a difference. However, all the quilting stitches, it did say to just do them in white. So I'm going to just put white in right now. And I know you won't see it as well. Or you know what? Let's do coin. That's like my favorite color to just stitch with if I'm going to be doing placement lines and things like that. And we'll just change it to white once we get to the quilting. Like for instance, somebody asked me to color match. So this is placement for the batting. I'm going to spray my batting piece. You should have a batting piece that's 6 by 6, and I'm going to spray my background fabric. They wanted me to color match their Isacord to Tidewater, and I tried, and I couldn't do it. With 423 colors of Isacord, you would have thought you want to spray the wrong side. So spray the wrong side of your batting. It's the nubbier side. And the wrong side of your background fabric. You would think I would have been able to find the exact color, and I just couldn't. One was a little bit too blue. And then one was a little bit too green. So I just couldn't make it happen. All right. And ladies, when I do these sew-alongs, I am doing this project for the first time, so I've not stitched this out before. And sometimes when I talk, I lose focus. So if you catch me doing something I'm not supposed to be doing, write it in the comments. Be like, stop! Alert, alert! Okay, so I'm putting this down. And I'm going to lay down my background fabric. I'm just centering it to this. You just want about 1 inch top and bottom. And if you have a little bit more on the top, a little bit more on the bottom, that's okay. Kimberbell leaves you like about 1 inch all the way around. Okay, we are going to skip the next step. Next step is tack down for the batting and trim. We've already cut it to size. We're going to skip this. This is placement for your background fabric. We're going to do the tack down for the background. And it's kind of nice to have a contrasting color because you're going to fussy cut to this line. All right. My machine is fast. Iris and the Luminaire stitch about 30% faster than the Destiny and the Dream Machine on certain parts. Not everything, but on certain things it just stitches faster. Okay, it wants the quilting stitch. I am going to put white in. You could do variegated, you could do yellow, you could do whatever you want. You could do blue. And I just have a king cone of white on my thread stand, so I'm just threading that up right now. Okay, people ask what spray I use too, and I use... let me reach it. This is my love. Patrick's my love, and my kids are my love, and my dogs are my love, and this is my love too. KK 100. The economy line. I've never tried the, whatever, I guess the fancy part, the fancy line. I've always used the economy line because it's always been great. Somebody should try it sometime and let me know if it's worth it. But it's, I want to say it's like double the price. So, I don't know. This works great. To me, it's a perfect amount of spray. All right, we're going to go ahead and do our stitching. And then the next thing we're going to do after this is it's going to take us to the embroidery. I am going to be using this color first. This is Sage. After the sew along, I will complete this little thread chart. And if you guys have another color that you think is great, so it's Sage, and I'll put the color number in here too. We do not carry Glide at the store, but I can special order it for you if you want it. And I was thinking I would carry like maybe 20 or 30 of the colors that I use the most where we have them, but right now we don't have them and it would be a special order. This is number 67748. 677. Ooh, it's hard to write on the embroidery arm when it's moving, but that's the color I'm going to use. I thought I could use clover too. Clover's a little bit lighter. So if you have clover, I think that would be a good option as well. We have our 8x8, we should just do our inner borders. And then I think I'm done with it. Well, I think I'm using it one more time. What are we using next? I think we're gonna use it here too, our 8x8. We're gonna do all our filler blocks, and I stabilize my filler blocks. I was a marathon thread girl because I didn't know what thread to get. When I got my first machine, the shop I bought it at, which is our shop, was owned by somebody else. And you didn't get lessons, you just got like a great deal and you just figured everything out on your own. And so I just like went on the internet and asked people what I should use. So Linda, did you not like the thread kit for, which thread kit didn't you like? Okay, get whatever green ready that you want, because the next thing we're gonna stitch are gonna be these stems. My white, I just throw up there on the top of my machine. I'm going to put in my sage. I think, like I said, I think sage would be great. Or here's a, I was going to use clover. This one's like a little lighter and brighter. That one's a little more muted. I'm kind of a muted kind of girl. Like my favorite colors are like jewel tones. I don't like primary colors. Not that I don't like them, but I love jewel tones. Like a deep purple and a deep blue. Okay, go ahead and stitch out those little leaf and stems. And then the next color, if you haven't picked out your color, oh yeah, absolutely, Cheryl. Glide thread's gonna work. You know where I heard a lot of people use glide thread, and again because I did like a search, when I got my long arm, I was shocked to see how many people use glide thread, the polyester glide thread, to embroider with. I was like, wow. And they have pre-wound bobbins. Okay. Then it's going to want you to do this leaf and stem over here. Look at the color. Like, that doesn't look anything like that. And they call it sand green. So, I'm going to be using, I don't know, I kind of toiled over this one. Maybe this? Don't you think this looks like that? That one's a little mintier, I think. A little bit mintier. But I think I'm going to go with pistachio. However, I do have stuff which I think would, like, as far as that goes, I think thyme would be really good. That's going to match that little block there, but it doesn't really match that. I'm just going to go pistachio. But use whatever you want. Who cares? I also went on to, I think my goal is to have have all the glide colors too. So I went on their site and I'm ordering Pale Mist and Cool Mint. And then I'll see if maybe those would have been a little better, like a better match to what they did. But for now, I'm doing pistachio. That's going to be next. There's no thread kit for Life is Better in Full Bloom. Back when I pre-ordered for the colors that you not necessarily, it was mostly basic colors. Yeah, I wish there was a thread set for Life is. Did you order it from a shop? Because there is no Kimberbell curated thread set for Life is Better in Full Bloom. But if you want me to supplement any of that, I can get it for you. But maybe a store had created it. Like, I know that, I think my girlfriend's quilt shop, I think they might curate special sets. So we're going to curate as we go today. So if you need anything supplemented, we can do that. Karen, isn't Cool Mint's just cool? That's a good color. I don't think I have it. I think I have Mint Julep. I have Sea Foam, which is minty. I have Magic Mint, which is really kind of, I don't know, bluer. And I have Mint Julep and Pistachio. This is what I have. All this thread and I still don't have the perfect color. So this is what I have right now. So Mint Julep and Pistachio, I think, are like, this one, I think this one's like the mintiest, right? But this one here is called Magic Mint. So. Yeah, I'll let you know what I'm using. I'll read you this spreadsheet and then I'll resend this out. It'll be version 2. It'll be version number 2 because, and I'm going with pistachio. And yes, that's my final answer. Okay, and this morning, because of course it couldn't happen sooner. This morning, I went ahead and I created a group, a Life is Better in Full Bloom group. So I sent everyone, and I just did it based on, you know, whoever bought their fabric kit from us. But if you want to be added to it, I'd be happy to add you to it. You just have to email me. And I sent you this spreadsheet this morning, and I will send you the revised one. After we do this today, I'll send you the revised one with the full color list and color options. And of course, they're just my color options, so you might hate it. Don't get it and go, I hate your colors. They're just my suggestions. Okay, after we do this, the next color I'm going to use is I am going to use lead gray. Did I write that one in yet? So they have light gray. Oh yeah, I put it in here. Lead gray. 1CG11. And you're going to need your piece of silver leather. I'm going to see if I have like leftover silver leather. Let's see. Little itty bitty. I have that song in my head from Louis Capaldi. Is that how you say his name? I watched his documentary yesterday while I was like working on the spreadsheets, and I was like, that kid is like so incredible. He's like a prodigy, but such a quirky little kid too. And it was kind of exciting that he made it, you know, because he doesn't look like your typical rock star. I think he has Tourette's too, which I was like, this kid's pretty incredible. Okay, we are gonna put in lead gray, and it wants to do a placement line first. You could go darker. I thought about going shadow, but that was almost black. I bet there's other dark grays. Do your placement line. I'm going to give my little leather sheet a little shot of spray. Here we go. Yeah, and if I put you in a group and send you an email and you're like, I don't want to be on an email list, because I add you to lists so that if I'm sending out something specific for the project, you'll get it. But you can, like, don't let me bully you into being on a list. Just be like, don't send me anything, and I won't send you anything. I will respect your privacy. When you spray, I don't want you to freak out. It like sweats through to the other side, but it just like goes away. I have to tell you, for oh so delightful, I've been using spray for like a decade now. I've never had it like stain or anything, but it totally, like the green fabric, it totally made spots. And so I apologize for that. I've never had it do that before. This is going to be your tack down. Lay it down, tack it down. And then we're going to trim as designed. Whoop. Did I not? Maybe I didn't hit my thread button. I do that. It was that green fabric. The green fabric that it created spots on it. So I'm just going to rinse mine out. But it was the first time that's ever happened. And here I am, right back to using my spray again, because I love it. It always shocks me that just a little spritz like goes right through this. We're almost ready with our Cuties 2 kits. Oh, let me plug in my computer really fast. I'll be right back. I'm losing my juice. just getting my computer plugged in so it doesn't die. Battery is running low. There we go. Okay, I'm going to be using, anytime it says trim as desired, I like to use my curved straight scissors, which are these. They make two different sizes. They make this, which is, I think it's the 4.5 inch, and they make a 6-inch one. And I don't have the 6. I'm going to add that to my collection. I haven't bought scissors in a while. Because there's so many curves, I'm just going to take this off. I usually just trim it right on the machine. And I like to leave about 1/8 of an inch. They're here, meaning Momo and Poppy. Okay. See, what happens is if you use the curve, you get like little smiley cuts. You don't want that. Oop. The other thing I don't like is I don't like sharp corners. So I'll go back and I'll just make sure those corners are just like rounded off. I don't mind a sharp inner corner. I don't like a sharp outer corner. I guess there's times where it's appropriate. I think this embroidery, so this embroidery altogether is 19 minutes, which isn't very long, but there's going to be a lot of stuff that requires, whoop, I'm just dropping thread like crazy. There's a lot of stuff that we're going to have to do, like appliques, fringe, chenille. There's a lot going on with this one. But I love these pillows. I love the square ones. They're my favorite. I just like them because I feel like they're super manageable. I was looking at the Stitch Out for a Shout Hooray, and I'm really excited because that one is not too complicated. Okay, you guys are going to get kicked out pretty quick. So see how sharp that corner is for me? I just want to take off a little bit and just make it not so, you know. And we want to get this part too. So go ahead and get your scissor in there if you have to. Sorry guys, I will. Okay, be careful not to cut through. There, I can tell I'm putting just the leather. The threads are going down like fallen soldiers right now. Poppy has her first puppy training class tomorrow. She needs it. It's been, walking her has been so embarrassing because she's been like lunging and barking at people and other dogs, and it's been super embarrassing. But yeah, will you get them?
Come on.
They followed me in here.
This is inappropriate.
Inappropriate!
Inappropriate.
You got one. Oh, here comes the other one. Can you shut the door? Thank you. How cute is that? So adorable. Okay, next step. Does the glide thread work on the multi-needle? Yes. Use glide to sew my quilts. My long armor use glides too. Order it. Did it come out so beautifully, Blythe? I know, you know why? You forgot because I didn't send any emails. I talked about it in the live feed a little bit, but that was it. All right. Did you finish it all on Sunday? Was it like a 1-day, intensive project? We're going to do the watering can detail. I'm going to leave that same gray in there. And then we're going to stitch the flower placement line. Color is not going to make a difference, but I'm going to go ahead and leave this color in. We are going to be putting down our first flower, which is going to be with, this line is called Sparkle. I mean, it doesn't have sparkle in the fabric, but I love this fabric. It's absolutely beautiful. So I thought my best color match was actually my ice cord. Grab it. Where are my pinks? There it is. I really did think my best match was this. And this is an Isacord color, and it's Isacord 2320. And if you don't have that, you could use hot pink. You could use, well, nope, don't like azalea. But there's a hot pink. Where's my hot pink? Oh, on the floor. Here's hot pink. This is Kimberbell's hot pink. I liked this one better. I thought this one was a little too rowdy for me. So I'm going to be using Isacord. Oh, shoot. Hang on. Was not even paying attention to that. Alrighty. Well, it wouldn't be a sew along with me if there wasn't a mishap like that. Let me go ahead and get my favorite pair of tweezers. This is just an opportunity for me to demo. Wasn't even looking at that. Okay, I love these because I love the tweezers and I love that they're attached. Let me just get this out of here and I'm going to go back and... Holy cow! See? I'm just like you. The other day I was looking for a piece of fabric and it was stuck to the bottom of my hoop. It hadn't gotten sewn down. It was like near the front of it. So it was okay. And now I can show you how to go back and get to where you need to be to. Look away, ladies and gents, just for a minute. This will be remedied in just a sec. Were you all watching that going, there she goes, stitching her applique fabric to her project. I just like it because of this. I like the tweezers, and the tweezers are so great. And I like it because they're attached, so I don't have to go looking for my tweezers. And the tweezers are super sharp, so they grab really well. I don't know if I would give up my precision tip tweezers for these, but it'd be close. It'd be close. And then they just fold into each other. Okay, we got to get back to this. My fabric got a little bit floppy, so I'm gonna go. Let's go minus. We got to get to that bottom row of stitching, and I am When did it do that bottom row stitching? These must have been on there a long time. As I'm going, I am looking at this to see where I'm at. Okay, there's my bottom row. Is that my bottom row? Yeah, it is. Okay, here we go. Betty, you didn't know because I'm a poor communicator. But I did mention it in the live feeds. I'm going to fast forward now because I don't have to redo all that stitching. So now I'm just hitting my plus 10s. There we go. And I'll just go ahead and do that whole row of stitching. And you wouldn't even know. Brenda, look away! And I'll stop it right at the end. Unless it's... Let's see where it goes next. Where is next? I'm going to just fast forward. Oh, we didn't do that. So we can just do that. That's the row right below. And we are back on track. This is why I'm not allowed to talk and sew. Let alone have a drink. We actually, for Easter dinner, we had Patrick's mom was here and we had a friend. And so our friend brought a bottle of wine. So I'll have like a little glass. But I was like, I don't know if I should be sewing or doing anything like this right now. Don't know if I can be trusted. But it was fine. It was like literally just like a little glass. I love these, Lynn. Lynn, did you already do yours? Because if you did, bet it's pretty cute. Lynn, I have your 7x12 hoop. Came in. And then I have another hoop for you. I can't remember which of the other ones you ordered, but it's in. Okay, next step is we are going to do the placement line for the flower. This base piece should have some shape flex on it. So you had one piece that you were putting shape flex on, and then the other 3 pieces didn't have anything on it. I'm going to switch out my color now because now color does make a difference. And I'm using that Ice Accord Hot Pink, which is 2320. So let me go ahead and take out my coin color. I'm going to give this a little shot of spray. Here's the part that got stitched down. There it is. There's the evidence. But we're not going to talk about it anymore, right? You guys already forgot. And I can't. Okay. We're going to lay that down. Tack it down. And then we're going to trim. Oh, patchability. Oh, look at that. It helps if you actually put the thread in and thread the needle. Let me go back and let me put my thread in. There's just too many fun things to work on. How are we supposed to get it all done? I always need to, because, you know, this is my tack down. I can confirm I went back, but then I couldn't remember. But remember, placement's going to be turquoise. Tack down's going to be orange. So now I know it is the tack down. Okay, tack down and trim. Trimming, when it's close to the stitch, I'm going to use double curved scissors. That's going to get you the closest. So let me get my double curved scissors out. All right, Karen. Karen, you're back at home now, aren't you? I think that's what I read. All right. So the base fabric trimmed close to the stitch. Now you're going to stitch the center and it looks like it wants, or no, the decorative outline that's going to go around that, just go ahead and hit start. I think this color is perfect. Again, this is Isacord 2320, and I just, or 2320. Is that the color I picked? I'm gonna have to change that. Oh yeah, it's right here. I was reading the wrong one. 2320. So I'll adjust this list. I mean, is that just perfect? 2320. Now you're gonna place your 3 flower fabrics, all 3 of them right side up. 1, 2, 3. Don't spray. You just kind of hold it there. You could tape it if you want. It says use a visible thread color and stitch the flower basting outline. This will be removed later. Why don't we go ahead and change it? It is kind of hard to see if you don't do color that you can see. I'm just going to go back. This is sitting here, so I'm going to do my lead gray, but you could do any color that's going to be visible. Throw in a white, throw in a yellow. And stitch the flower chenille lines. Now you have to switch it back. I'm sorry, that wasn't the chenille lines. That was just the basting stitch. Now we're going to put your pink back in. We're going to do the chenille lines. Those chenille lines are going to stay there. You're just going to cut your fabric between the lines. If you haven't done this before, it's super fun. You're going to want to chenille everything. Blythe, I always look at the quilts. Well, every once in a while I have a project where I'm like, oh my God, that is the cutest. This pillow being one of them. The tweed heart pillow being one of them. Shout hooray, I was like, I don't know about that. But then I find that every time I do the project, I absolutely love them. I'm like, that was so cute. So I'm just going to do them all. But I want you, ladies and gents, to do whatever makes your heart happy. There are so many projects. It's hard to keep up. So do the ones that make your heart happy. Okay. Trim 3 pieces of flower chenille fabric close to the basting line. Do not cut the basting stitches during this step. So we're going to go ahead. And if you can get through all 3 at once, great. I'm just going to do 2 and then I'll do 1. And if you can trim really close where you cut that basting line, sometimes I try and do that because then it'll save you this step of having to take that stitch out. I will purposefully try to trim so that basting line gets cut. Did anyone watch I didn't even know Diane Sawyer was still doing interviews, but I watched a decent amount of TV while I was doing some work yesterday, and I was watching her interview with Jeremy Renner, and I was like, oh my God. When he described how he got run over by his snow machine, I was like, that sounds horrible. Okay, now we're going to do the next step. I could not find a good glide thread color for this blue. I had some that were close, but I am again going to Isacord, and the color I'm using is 3951. However, I thought Cerulean was close. Let me take off the cap to this and you can see. They just weren't perfect. So, first step, placement line. Color does not make a difference, but here's the fabric and you can take a peek. So that's not too bad. It's a little brighter, but it was pretty light. So I'm using this color, which I thought was really, really close. This is 3951. I think I put it in the spreadsheet too. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in. And, you know, it doesn't have to match perfectly. Don't have to be so matchy-matchy. That's what I tell myself, that I'm super matchy-matchy. Okay, placement stitch first. You're going to grab the one that has the shape flex on it. That is your base. And if you watched our live feeds, you know that Jeremy Renner lives here in town. He lives here in Reno. Okay, tack it down, and then we're going to trim it. Because his daughter's here. He just loves the mountains. He lives up on, like, Mount Rose Highway. So you can kind of see his house when you drive up to Incline. Do you have any more hoop mats in stock? I do have a hoop mat. Just send me an email. Are you talking about the dime hoop mat? Because I do have it. I don't know why I don't have it on the website. What's wrong with me? Okay, we're going to trim this. The first time I realized Jeremy Renner lived in town, well, I saw him. And I've told this story in the live feed before, but I saw him at TJ Maxx. And I was like, oh my God, that's Jeremy Renner. And I walked up, I tried to be like, you know, you don't want to be annoying. So I tried to, now we're going to lay these three down. So we trimmed it. Oh, sorry, not yet. Do the decorative stitch. I saw him and he was like buying, like, he was in the domestics department. He was like buying towels or sheets, and I was like, oh my God, did I just see Hawkeye at TJ Maxx? So I had a shopping cart, like I went down the aisle and back up it again so I wasn't so obvious. And I was like, do I ask him for his autograph? Do I try and take a picture where he's in the background? And I was just like, what am I, 10 years old? So I didn't do any of it. And I just came home and I was like, Patrick, I saw Jeremy Renner at TJ Maxx. And Patrick's like, you did not see Jeremy Renner at TJ Maxx. Okay, I'm going to lay down my 3 pieces. Then you're going to use a visible color. You don't have to use a visible color. Look how messy I'm laying these down. But it'll help. I'm just going to use this blue. I feel like light colors you can see on light fabric. I feel like dark colors are harder to see. So this is going to be the basting stitch. And then I'm just going to hit start again because you can see that. And then I'm going to let it do the chenille lines. Chenille. Oops. Wait, were we supposed to trim that yet? Not yet. Do your chenille lines first, and then you're going to trim around the basting stitches. Which I should remember, right? I just did it. And then the next week, Patrick saw Jeremy Renner at Raley's, our supermarket, and he's like, Jeremy Renner is in Reno. I saw Jeremy Renner. And then we saw him at Disneyland, and then Patrick rode the ski lift with him. He's really nice. Oh, well, I don't know, but Patrick said he was nice. Okay, now we're going to trim nice and close. If you can cut that basting stitch, this is your chance. This is your chance. We don't have very many celebrities in Reno. Who have you guys seen? I remember seeing, God, what's his name? Mike Wallace. I remember seeing him in Boston, and I was like, he just like, he had this aura. I was like, that's Mike Wallace from 60 Minutes. We saw when Patrick and I lived in New York City. We saw. Oh, look at I cut really close to that. You don't want to cut too close. That was a little too close because I cut my basting stitch and then now I was cutting into almost my. It doesn't have to be pretty. You're going to be fringing it. We saw was it Samuel L. Jackson? I think it was Samuel L. Jackson at the art bar in New York. You see lots of people in New York. Okay, next. And we would see people in Vegas too. But not in Reno. All right, next one is going to, and I could have left that color in, but we are going to be doing the flowers. Aaron, he's the football player that dated Shailene. Is that him? I love this fabric. Lay it down however you want. They laid it down horizontally. I think I'm going to go with a good old diagonal. And as far as thread colors, I pulled out a whole bunch of different ones. This one looks pretty good though. This is Buttercup. I've got Buttercup. This is pretty bright, but this is Daffodil. I'm going to go Buttercup. Let's just do it. When we lived in Vegas, because we lived in Vegas too, and we went down with friends, and one of my friends was like, I wonder if we'll see Kim Kardashian. This is probably a decade ago. Sure enough, there we saw her. I didn't even notice. I'm not like a big Kim Kardashian fan. I'm not an anti-fan. I'm just like, oh, it's Kim Kardashian. Oh, did I do something wrong? What did I miss? Okay, hang on. Stitch the flower placement line, and I'm still showing. No, this should be right. Okay, this is right. I got confused because I saw the blue and I thought, oh my goodness, I needed to add, and it was so close to this one. I'm going in at the diagonal. Tack it down. Patrick and I used to go to this club called Dre's in Vegas, and we would always see people there. But we'd see Robin Leach. Robin Leach was the one. But I saw like Mark Wahlberg and who's the guy in Vince whatever from Fast and the Furious. Okay, we are gonna trim this, and then it's gonna do the decorative stitch on the outside of it. Down a little bit. I have such a bad memory. I don't even remember who I saw. When I go see... Oh my god. I wouldn't even know his name. So which one was he? Was he Bo, or was it Bo and Luke? Okay, so it's not Tom Schneider, because Tom Schneider, was he Bo? So was it Luke, the dark-haired one? And then after we do this, we're going to lay down the other 3 pieces. Okay, this one's taken us like an hour already. Said use a visible color, but I'm just going to use the, I'm going to leave the Buttercup in. I just feel like you can see I think it's the darker colors that I have trouble seeing, and the lighter ones aren't that bad. So we're going to go ahead and do that. That's going to be removed, and then we're going to do our chenille. Now it says stitch out the chenille basting stitches, so I'm just going to start it again, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to trim. Luke. Oh, I love that show. trim that. Sorry, I'm trying to get this arm not to shake as much. Right, dogs are giving the neighbors a nice warm guard dog welcome. Okay, now we're going to do the blue flowers. I don't know why. There's this color blue that I absolutely love. And I looked for it on the Glide color list because I have the Glide color list. I was like, I'll just order it. But you can't really tell like what you see on the color on this screen. So it says change the bobbin to a water soluble thread. So let's go ahead and do that first. I use Vanish Light, and we do sell that in this store. And I write on my bobbin VAN for Vanish, because the last thing you want to do is sew with this and then put your quilt in the, or whatever project you're working on, put it in the laundry and have all those stitches come out. So make sure you write on it. So we're going to put this in first. You don't have to use Vanish thread. You could use, it does say change the bobbin to a water soluble thread or visible color. It is hard to get out those stitches with the visible color because they just kind of like, they're all intertwined. I highly recommend you get some Vanish thread. The other thing I like to use my Vanish thread for, I use it in classes sometimes, because sometimes I'll be doing a class like a, let me get my blue in there. The blue I'm going to be using, I think you could probably use this color. It's called Marlin. So I'll put that in the list. Let me see. This is going to be for the sea blue, and I already did. Marlin. I'm also going to order Ocean because I was like, oh, maybe that'll be a good color. They put sea blue, so maybe Ocean's going to be the bet. But the color I'm going to be using is a Rhinegold color. Do you like this needle stuck in my paper? There we go. I'm using this. I just love this color, and it's just like, just perfect. So this is Rhinegold. Rhinegold was made by Madeira, but I don't even think Rhinegold exists anymore. I think it's a defunct thread company. But if you do want to use it, it's Rhinegold, and it's 4296. And it's just like, to me, it's like, I don't know. The shade is just magnificent. I'm going to use this. When Rhinegold, when they sold, and it was a Taconi product, I'm pretty sure. When they got rid of it, we bought like everything that was left over. They were king cones, and we did like a crazy deal on them. And some of you were part of that. But the box they sent, I mean the boxes they sent were like 6 feet by 6 feet, and they sent us 2 of them. And then we just cleared them out at the store. Okay, so this is Stitch Flower 4 outer blue fringe. Then we're going to change the bobbin thread back to a neutral color. I'm just going to change it back to white, and we're going to stitch Flower 4 outer blue fringe tack down. So you do this, and then it does like a little inner circle to hold those stitches down for when you fringe them. Then we're going to change back to the water soluble, and we'll stitch the inside and then back to a neutral color. So it'll be fringed twice. Cheryl, you're so sweet to say that because Momo's like such a jerk. I'm hoping he's just gonna get better. I want you to know, Cheryl, he barks at us when we come home. And I'm always like, you know us. Why are you barking? And it's the same bark. It sounds the same as the bark that he barks at strangers. It is just Momo. He can't help it. I love this blue. There's something about this shade. It's almost like dark turquoisey blue. I don't know how to describe it. Okay, we're going to change our bobbin. Leave your thread in, change your bobbin back to your regular bobbin. That's going to stitch it down and hold the fringe. We're going to get like 2 embroideries done today. Hopefully not. I guess maybe a neutral color if you were using like a really like high contrasting color. Okay, inner ring. It's going to stitch the inner ring, and then we're going to switch it back. This is going to hold the fringe down. Oh yeah, she could show that too, but it's just a USB. So the designs, Lynn, they just come out of USB, and she just popped in the USB. So not really much of an installation other than that, but I wanted her to do the video just so you could see where to find everything, because I had no idea. Like, I figured out where the fills were, but I didn't know where the motifs were. And I guess motifs are just the line motifs. So let me go back. I'm going to go back 10. I went back another 10. Now I'm going to go plus until I bounce to that flower. Plus ones. That is true. He probably does bark because of that. That's how he tells us he loves us. Last one. This is the stitch that's going to hold it down. That is a good question, Lynn. I have no idea. I think you can, but that's me guessing. So maybe in the live feed, in case I forget, let's ask Michelle. And we'll see. I think you can save them in the pocket. I asked Michelle if she could do like a, some kind of project with that. I was like, ooh, it's that time of year. Let's do candy bags. If you, because she was talking about doing like a candy bag. I don't know why I just took that thread out. I did, because I'm talking. Let me put my blue back, and I'm going to change my bobbin is what I want to do. I just took out my upper thread. So let's go ahead and change the bobbin. You're going to put your water soluble bobbin back in, because it's going to do another row of fringe. But I said, let's do a candy bag with the fills and the motifs. And she has some like amazing clear vinyl that she was thinking about stitching on, which could be really, really fun too. Remember you were talking about, somebody was talking about how it's hard to slide their hoop on. My 8x12 is difficult to slide on. So see how you can see the rub marks right here where it's black? And I hold it here. I hold it here when I push it on just to make sure it doesn't get pushed out of calibration. Okay, you should have your water-soluble thread in for this, and then we're going to put our regular. So, I think Patrick talked about putting a little bit of machine oil on there, but I really want to take mine and just give it a light sand right where the dark mark is. I'm going to try it. I'll let you know how it goes. But I've been using it like this and struggling to get it on for, 3 or 4 years now, and I just keep struggling with it. Maybe I just won't do anything, and I'll just keep struggling. How about doing something from the Visionary Stitches, like how to get the download for stitches, dummy hair. So I have the Luminaire. I haven't done the Visionary Stitches, and I think Michelle has a Luminaire too. We could get the Luminaire for our Solaris at the store, I suppose. Or the Visionary. Did I just say we could get our Luminaire for the Solaris? We could get the Visionary Stitches for the Luminaire. Visionary Stitches for the Solaris we have a Solaris demo at the store. We could probably do something like that. Send us a note about that, Betty. We'll put it in the queue for maybe a Technique Tuesday. Okay, after this, you're going to put your regular bobbin back in. We are almost done. I think aren't they just designs? So you did have to send Baby Lack like a copy of your receipt. And your receipt for your upgrade. And I think they should have sent you those designs. Okay, regular bobbin is in. It is going to stitch down that inner circle of fringe so that you can fringe it and the stitches don't just come right out. I have a sponge here. This is what I use to like wet those stitches and get. Doesn't it go so pretty? It just goes perfectly with my fabric. Color coded, color matched. Oh, let me just make sure I'm doing this right because change to water soluble. I just did that wrong. Okay, so we changed our bobbin and then we changed thread back to a neutral color and we needed to change the center color. So I'm going to go back. This goes forward, this goes back. And as far as the color for that, they're showing it with a pink. I'm going to be stitching right on top. How about we go with, this is what I'm going to be using for my light pink. It is Isocord 2363. It is brand new to me. Let me take, did you know you could just pull off the tops? Sometimes it does pull the thread. I've had it do that before. But most of the time they just pull right up. I'm going to do that so it doesn't. This one's pretty tight. Going to be a little thick there, going through all that thread. Okay, there, that's strike number 2 for me. As I was stitching, I was looking at it going, that doesn't look right. I should have a pretty center. The next step, it says do not stitch. So there's a design placement line that we're going to kind of skip. You're going to get your seam ripper next. So we are going to remove that basting stitch. The ones that go around here. And then I'm going to wet my sponge and we'll get those other stitches off. I did all that and had the book printed out. I thought those were, you know what? I'm not sure. We'll figure it out, Betty. Who did their visionary stitches? And has anyone stitched anything from those? Okay, next step. You can see it right here on your stitch out. We're going to skip that step. And then we're back to the beginning. That is it. So let's go ahead. This is how you do your chenille. You're going to go ahead and remove that basting stitch. them to not drop down. Don't remove your chenille stitches. Those are going to be the ones that are running down the center of your... All right. What about this one? This looks like a basting stitch too. And that is the one that started. So there's a little knot right here. I'm going to get that. Okay. This one, I think I cut most of this one out. I'm a picker. That's why I love these tweezers. See, the light color is kind of easy to see, so you don't necessarily have to put a different color in here. And I wouldn't worry about there being threads because chenilling is kind of, I don't want to say dirty, but it's going to make a little bit of a mess anyways. Okay, now we're going to get our chenille tool. Let's see what they say. Let's look at our instructions. With fine tip scissors, here's the instructions. Gently lift the 3 top layers and cut a straight line down the center of each chenille channel, being careful not to cut through the base layer. Repeat for 2 and 3, and then you're going to place the hoop on a flat surface. Fray the cut edges with a nail file or chenille brush to create the chenille. To cut down on the brushing time, lightly spray with water. So I have my chenille cutter, which I absolutely love, and I find that most of the time I do set it. Get my chenille cutter so dirty. There's all this thread in here. I usually keep it set to, so you can advance the blade so you can get a better cut, and then you can set it to medium, small, large, and large. I guess that's like an extra large. I'm usually set to medium right here, and you just go ahead and turn it. How do I turn it? Turn it. That's a new edge right here. Turn to select guide. So this is where you turn to select the guide. See how it shows it right here, and we can just turn it, and we're here. So I'm going to go back to medium. Okay, so now it's set right there. I can just take this and lift those 3 pieces. I might actually set it to small. Gotta go all the way around again. There we go. We're set to small. You're gonna just put it, I wonder if I can turn it like this, right here, and just pull up. And it just cuts through all those layers. Just make sure you get all 3 of them. I'm gonna come up here and just go all through my layers. Or you could just use your scissors. Same thing. Just make sure you go through all 3 layers. Okay, now that we've cut through that, now you're going to get your chenille brush, or you could use your nail file. Chenille brush to me is the way to go. Put it on a flat surface. Here's my flat surface. And look how amazing and great it looks. Or you can use your nail file. And then if there's pieces sticking up that you don't like, whoop, let me get that right away because it went straight into my trash can. What a mess I'm making. Celinda, why is there a step in the instructions that will say to not stitch? I have no idea, because isn't that silly? Like, why put that in there? Just to confuse us? We should ask Kimberbell. I don't know what the purpose because it's just one more step for them to print and write about. I don't know why, but I totally agree. Like, why put that in there if we're not going to stitch it? But they do. Hopefully there's like some amazing reason. But look how good that chenille looked. Doesn't it look amazing? That piece didn't come up much. I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you. Okay. And that's why I don't worry about those threads. And we can go ahead and trim them. Okay, now it wants you to go ahead and do the fringe. I'm going to go wet this. I will be right back. And I took a yummy sip of my coffee. And we're going to turn it to the back side. We are just going to wet back here. And this is going to get rid of our vanished thread. And if this is getting floppy in the hoop, that's okay. We're going to take it out. Or you can spritz it. You see how they show a little spritz bottle? I always use a sponge. Because I'm aggressive. I want to like spray it and like... what did I use? I used my tweezers, my favorite tweezers from my serger. Because they're kind of long. This is what I used to fringe last time. And so it says right here, turn to the back, remove the fringe bobbin thread. Be careful not to clip any neutral colors. If water soluble thread was used, spray the fringe stitches with water to dissolve the thread. Oh, I was telling you, the other thing I'll do is sometimes when I teach classes, like when I did the poinsettia panel, I used water soluble thread so that, oh, I want to lift it from the front, so that I could use the same panel over and over again. I just did like the stitching and then just took a sponge over on top of it and just pulled it all out. I feel like I need something a little sharper to get underneath this edge. Sometimes you can just lift it this way. There's my fingernail. Turn the hoop to the front. Carefully lift the satin stitch up and away from the tack down stitch. No, work from the center outward. Okay, we're working from the center outward. Maybe my sponge wasn't quite wet enough. Where are you, sponge? How could I lose that? Just had it here. Oh, here it is. This has got to be wet enough. Green, it's so it will be centered in the hoop even though it's off-centered. And it's a placement line. Instead of having to mess around with aligning it with the bottom seam, they just put in the line at the top and it's perfect. Oh, see, there is a reason. I'm watching just to learn more about embroidery. The chenille is interesting. Chenille would be interesting if I could lift it up, right? I start from the center is what it says. So I'm going to actually grab, just because it's down so tight, I'm going to grab my precision tip tweezers. I just don't want to break it. Once we get it going, there we go. Okay, so just put them under there and pull it up. There we go. There's my first row. Whoop. And if you get any that you break, just trim them down. Just give it a little haircut. There's my first layer. And then you can go in and get that outside layer. See how they just pull up? So okay. So you get the gist of it. I'm going to go ahead and do this a little bit later, because I want to get this right in front of my face, and I can't because I have the camera on it. So, but inner circle first, and then outer circle. So did you even see that? Did I even have it in there? And then just go ahead and fringe all of those flowers. Okay, we are done with, aside from like fringing everything, and then I'll fussy cut everything later on. Let's go ahead. We're going to leave it in the hoop. I'm just going to tighten this up a little bit. We're going to leave the design on there. We're going to go ahead and do the next embroidery. Good thing I didn't pop it out, although it would have been fine. I'm going to tidy up just the tiniest bit so this isn't out of control here, which it's starting to be. Susan, I bet it's going to be super cute in person. You know, I'm like lukewarm, like I'd say 30% of the time. I've loved like every project. Every time I do it, I always go, all right, that was super cute. But I don't know, fall's not your thing. Skip that one, because there's going to be another project right around the corner. All right, I'm going to leave this on here. I'm just going to say okay. And return will take us to the previous screen. So I'm going to go ahead and touch return. I'm going to leave that, and we're going to add spreadsheet filler block 1. So it's geometric 8 2x6. So I'm going to add. I'm going to go into my pocket. Whoops. My hoop's not even slid on. Let me slide that back on. Mine is my lower USB. Here is geometric 8. And I need geometric 8 2x6. 2x6 horizontal. Horizontals show up first. So here is 2x6. This is horizontal. The other one's going to be vertical. We're going to go ahead and set it. I'm going to rotate that. So I'm going to go edit, rotate 90 degrees. I'm going to scoot it down a little bit. I know exactly where my other design is, and it has a little bit of fabric hanging over, so I'm just going to put it right there. I could take a picture too, just to make sure I'm not overlapping. If you have not used your camera before, you should use it. This camera is real time. I'm not using this one. I'm using this one. It'll take a picture of what's in the hoop. On the Destiny and Dream Machine, you just hit the button. It takes the picture. On the Solaris and the Luminaire, you do have to hit scan. It's going to go ahead and take a picture, and then I can make sure that I'm not overlapping at all. That's how easy it is. Don't be scared of it. Use your camera. Make sure you have enough room around that it's not going to hit anything. Oh, and then we could use our projector. I could have just done the projector too. And you can see mine is going to be on the edge of the fabric. So I can remedy that by, number one, just flipping it back, just like that. Or I'm just going to move my design down just the smallest, just the slightest amount. Okay, close. And then here's my move keys. You can see I'm going to just move it down unless it until it's out of the way of that fabric. I'm still touching it there on the right hand side. Perfect. Looks good. I'm going to say okay. I'm going to go embroidery. The other thing I could have done here is I could have just touched my projector button for perfect placement, and I could have just hit this. Here's your mini lesson. That's your projector on the Luminaire and Solaris. They're the only machines that I know of that have a projector. And we're going to just scoot this down. You move your projector with your finger. So now I can see, like right there, it is not touching. I could scoot it up a little bit more if I wanted to, but I'm not going to do that. And we are not stitching that part out. So I'm just going to go ahead and say okay. And if I want, I could throw that away, which I probably should have done. So I'm going to hit return, and let's just get rid of that. So I'm going to touch that, delete. I just wanted it there so that I could do my placement. And then I'm going to touch this and hit delete. Oh, that's not even there. It's just my picture. So let's go embroidery. I did that just to get rid of all the stitching. So first thing it wants the placement stitch. Color doesn't make a difference right now. And I can get rid of that image if you find that confusing. Just go back here to the camera and hit image off. And then you can bring it right back by just going image on. It'll bring back whatever was your last image. Now we're good. Now it won't be confusing. Go ahead and stitch. This is going to do the placement line for your batting. Let me grab my fabric. Mine's just in pink. This is filler block number 1 right here. And there's my batting right behind it. I have it all together. I'm not going to lay that down yet. Now I'm going to do the placement stitch for my background fabric too. I'm not doing the tack down. I'm just going to go ahead and skip ahead. I'm going to do steps 1 and 3. That's for my background. And then I'll lay them down all at once so nothing gets stitched down by accident. 1 and 3 together. And I'm going to spray while that's going on. So now you have your placement stitch for your batting, placement stitch for your background. I don't spray too heavily, except when I'm doing like filler blocks and the border strips, because I want it to kind of stay down. So I'm going to lay this down first. The cheap foam paintbrush works great for this. Oh, yeah. That would be great too, because it's like nice and puffy and it'll like hold a lot of it would hold a lot of moisture. Take any dark threads off of this too. I'm going to lay this down. Let's get rid of your sticker on there. I did put Shape Flex on this, which I never do, but I was like, oh, maybe I'll just do it this time. I like this spray because I like it to like kind of get pushed down on the edges. And then let's go ahead. We're going to skip the next step, which is orange. It's the tack down for your background fabric. We don't need that. We're going to do the quilting stitch. Whatever color you want, I'm just going to put in white. Come on, camera arm. Stay. Stay. Do you see it's falling? Okay. I was telling Patrick, I'm like, I get really frustrated with my filming stuff because it doesn't stay when I want it to stay. Okay, I'm going to put white in. Linen would be really pretty too. It wouldn't be as stark, but I'm trying not to touch my filming arm because it is being finicky. Watch it, just make sure that foot doesn't scoop by accident. I think it should be good. Ooh, I love this stitch. That is fantastic. It's called Geometric 8. It's amazing. But don't you find that? I do. I find that, Susan, it's just, this one I love. Tweetheart, I loved. I was going to skip the Shout Hooray, but I've been looking at it. I think it's going to be pretty cute. Next, after this, we're going to go ahead and we are going to do one of the piece roses. Once we've done one, you should be able to do the rest of them. So get your piece roses stuff. We're going to be doing that in a 5x7 hoop. Grab my 5x7. I cut my fabric, my muslin, 9 inches when I'm using my 5x7 hoop. Love that. I think that looks absolutely amazing. I'm going to pop this out. See, this is where my hoop rubs, where that's like dark right there. And I do think I'm going to just take a little sandpaper to it or something. Okay, we are now doing, get this out of the way. Here's my 5x7. Here are my, I think this is it, pieced roses. Watering can, done. And then I just put these away and they're ready to go for the next project. So I was thinking, okay, what am I going to, I'm going to DC with Violet because she's competing with We the People. It's that constitutional competition. So they're representing Nevada. I think there's 3 teams going. This is, I know this has nothing to do with what we're doing, but I'm just going to be hooping it down here for the next, for the piece roses. And then I'll cut that off. I'm like, can I bring a sewing machine? Like, what can I bring? I guess I could bring handwork, right? Like, I don't like to sit around. And I'm going to do all the, like, the sightseeing stuff with their group. We're going to go to all the monuments and, like, the Smithsonian's and all that fun stuff. But I need to be productive, too. I'm like, I wish maybe I could take my featherweight with me. Because Violet doesn't want me to hang out with her and her friends. And I don't know any of the parents, which I don't mind getting to know them. Okay, but I need to figure something out. And I was thinking, I wish, you know what I wish? I wish there was like there's a simulator for Pro Stitcher. I wish they had something like that for the Luminaire and Solaris so I could go ahead and like do some planning, some class print planning. I guess it's going to be time for a handwork project. We'll do some granny squares. All right, I'm going to go ahead and slide that on. That is my 5x7. We are going to be doing Pieced Rose 1. Pieced Rose 1's the blue one. So here's all my fabric for this. This is Pieced Rose 1. I don't remember if this is 2 or 3, but it doesn't really make a difference. You should have a piece of 4x4 batting. It is going to be built upon that batting. There is no background fabric, although this is your background, but it's going to be piecing in the hoop. And let's load our design. You took the kids to all the sites. Wow. You could rent a Luminaire. I don't think, we don't rent machines because can you imagine like what we rent our Luminaire for however much per day, but then they break it. It's just too expensive of a machine to rent. I don't think anyone rents machines, do they? Okay. We're going to go home. Oh, change to a larger embroidery frame because it still has this design. And even though the design isn't big, this is going outside of the 5x7. So just take this off. You can full it. You can scoot it off. And now it'll let me clear the screen. So I'm going to go, okay, let's go home. We want to load Spring 2 4x4. Embroidery, pocket. Mine are in that pocket. Spring 2. PES, and we're going to go 4x4 right here. Set it. We're going to add to that, and we are going to add pieced rows 1. I think they're probably all going to be, there's just one pieced rows. I don't think there's going to be multiples. Here's my pieced rows. We're going to take that, set it. It's layered one on top of the other. I'm back in my 5x7. Let's go ahead and choose that hoop size. 5x7. And I'm going to go embroidery. Put my hoop on. Because right now I could scoot it right out of that embroidery field. But as soon as I put my hoop on, now I can just go ahead and go layout, move, and scoot it out. And we're just going to scoot each one up like that. All right. First step is going to be placement. Let's go back over here. We're going to go, okay. This is where we go forward and backward stitches. Placement for my batting. I want that. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit start. We're going to lay the batting down. Let's give it a little shot of spray. I'm in my spray tent. I'm going to lay it right down in the middle of this. I was amazed at my batting bag, how little it looked after I cut my batting for this. There's not a ton of batting, but it still felt so nice. Okay, this is the tack down. I'm going to skip that. I'm going to skip this placement for your background fabric, tack down for your background. We're going to do this at the very end. I'm going to go here. We're going to do our template. Be careful that it doesn't push your fabric around, but we do want to stitch out the template. Somebody was telling me that, I'm going to watch this because that foot could very easily just scoop that up. Usually gets it this way. Oop, didn't even touch it. And you could have done a color that you could see, which I probably should have done. Okay, just keep your finger on that start stop just in case it starts dragging your batting around. I cut mine a little bit bigger. I'm going to stop it right here. Okay, we're good. Because I didn't mind if a little bit was over the edge. Okay, I think we should be good now. Fusible backing on the background pieces. Rose 1 background fabric had lots of shadowing from the dark blue pieces beneath it. Oh, what did we do on this? So this had shadowing. The white. Oh yeah, huh? You know what? So did you hear that Susan had shadowing? I am not going to take the time right now, but I think that's a good idea. Maybe I'll do that with my other ones. Because you don't, I mean the shadowing. Yeah. You know how you're going to see like that? So if you want to take to the time to do that right now, this is going to be our template. We're going to lay the first one down, and I think probably for my other one, I might go ahead and do that. So first piece is going to, and this is your template. It's going to tell you which piece gets laid down first. We're just going to follow along. First thing that goes down is going to be this piece. So you're going to grab one of these, and you want to make sure you cover your entire number 1 piece. You could go ahead and spray this. It's just going to be little. I'm just going to lay it down right now. And we're going to be flipping and folding. So it's going to be, I think it's going to stitch this line right here. Oop, you can't even see that. I think it's going to be stitching this line right there. So we're going to put this down. Make sure you cover the whole thing. And that's going to be your trim line. Get your double curved scissors out. Oh, shoot. That did not. I'm trying to think if I need that whole thing. I am going to take that out because I just want to make sure we cover the entire thing. Let's go ahead and just take that out really quickly. I want that whole line covered. Now we know where it starts. Where is my Kai seam ripper? That's what I want. Here it is. Okay. It was going way up. Place piece 1, right side up, completely covering section 1, which I did. Started here. I'm going to go like this. Make sure. Let me go ahead and hit my cut because he's still connected. He started right here. I'm going to do this. Scoot him up a little bit more. I'm going to go back to the beginning of that. And now let's stitch it. There we go. So maybe what we'll do is for the next one, we will go ahead and shape flex all of the light pieces. I don't like putting shape flex on these a lot of the time because I don't like it getting really thick and bulky, but I rather have it be a little thicker and bulkier than shadowing. Next fabric that's going to go on is going to be this one, and you're not going to spray. You never spray the right side of your fabric. So I'm going to lay it down. Some people don't spray at all, but I usually spray and then fold it back. So I'm going to stitch it down first. That's a good idea. So did you hear Susan say she trimmed really close? So Susan said she ended up taking out stitches so she could trim really close to the placement line. It wasn't noticeable with the gray background or the yellow, so it's just going to be the white. Maybe we should, now I'm thinking we should just go ahead and only have the issue with rose 1. Okay, I do spray this, but I'm going to spray carefully and lightly, and then I'm going to flip this back. Let's if you have shape flexed pieces, I want you to go ahead and let's do the backs of the white, and we'll add that to the instructions. So I'm going to turn on my iron. I'm going to get out my scraps because it's going to bother me if I'm seeing all that shadowing, and Susan's already done it and she knows, so let's just do it. I'm heating up my iron right now. And I'll just keep doing some flipping and folding until we get to that part. My iron's heating up, and then I'm going to grab my pieces. So we're going to trim to the right of this and keep looking at your instructions. So we just did this step and we folded it back, and now we stitch that right-hand side. So we are going to go ahead and trim it right now, and then we'll lay down that blue piece. Why have regret when we can just take care of it right now? I was being lazy. I was like, I'm so lazy. Okay, we're going to lay down this piece with the flower. Right side down. Center it to the stitch. Slide it back on. This is going to stitch your 1/4 inch. This is your 1/4 inch seam allowance. Let's grab all of these pieces right here. We're grabbing these. We're going to shape flex them. Oh, did you hear that? So Kimberbell showed, and we carry that in the store. So there's a Clover folding pen that you can use. So you could just rub it here, fold it back. I like this because I just feel like it holds it for me. But if you feel uncomfortable spraying in the hoop, You could do the folding pen. You could use a glue stick. You could use some tape, whatever works. So I'm going to trim this, and then we're going to put the flowered fabric down. When you trim this, just pretend that this line extends all the way across and just go right across, nice and flat. This has a stitch done, so just do what you can. Doesn't have to be perfect. Fabric you're going to put down is the blue floral. Center it to your stitch line. Slide it on. Do your 1/4 inch seam allowance. Oh, yeah. So did you hear? So Lynn, ooh, I should go ahead. All right. Lynn sent me these incredible clappers, which I'm so excited about. And they're perfect to go into the hoop. They are so smooth. Let me show them to you. I literally took these and put them on either side of my face and just walked down the stairs with them. But they're such a great size because they're going to fit right in here. You want to use heat. You want to use your iron. You want to press. And then you're going to just lay this down, use your mat. You're going to take it off of your machine, and then you use your clapper. Look how gorgeous these are. And Lynn had posted a picture on our sew along page with the information of the gentleman that makes those. And I think they're from Etsy. They're so beautiful. Okay, this is going to be your trim placement line. Here is my giant bag of Shape Flex scraps. Just make sure bumpy side up. I'm just going to lay these down on here. Sometimes I go, Jeannie, don't be lazy. Oh, and this is like how you play Tetris. So you could just kind of lay it down to see how it's going to fit best. This is like, oh my goodness, was this scrap piece made for this? Because look, I'm just going to lay them down like this. It's not going to go from edge to edge, but it'll be fine. Oh my goodness. Like it was just waiting. Okay, now I'm going to cut it apart, and then I'll give it one more press from the back side. It was meant to, can you believe that? Like, that was so meant to be. I know, you know what would have happened, Susan? Like, because sometimes I'm like, I'm just lazy. And I was like, oh, maybe it'll be okay. And I just know I would have regretted it. So I'm trying to live without regret. Those are the little things. It's like little stuff, but it would have driven me crazy. I would have been like, why didn't I just listen to Susan? What's your problem, Jeannie? When I flip it this way, I'll take a peek and just make sure there's no dark threads that got caught under there. That's another thing that drives me crazy. Oh, do you think that's what it is? They're gorgeous, and I know it sounds silly. They feel so amazing. Like nothing like my other ones. There's just the way they feel in your hand. All right, now I'm ready. And I'll add that to the notes. We'll add something that says to stabilize just the white. And Susan, you thought it was fine, just the white? We didn't have to worry about the gray and the yellow? Because if so, then I'll just make sure we put that in the notes because no need having to do that. And I don't like it when it's super thick. So, okay, we just did that tack down trim line. So I'm going to go ahead and give this, look at, did I not go down far enough with that? I'm going to go ahead and trim this. And then we're going to lay our next piece down and our next piece. And you just trim this the best you can. If that's sticking out and sewn down, you can't get it any closer, don't worry about it. Okay, the next piece of fabric is going to be one of these. We're going to lay it down, center it, stitch your 1/4 inch. I love piecing the hoop. I kind of get into a mode. Just having done a lot of it in the store as a class, I know it can get confusing for some people. If you find it confusing, just focus on the instructions that are in the book, and just follow it to a T. Where did I put my spray? There it is. When in doubt, look on the floor. My bottle's breaking in, so I haven't been as out of control with it. I'm feeling like I need to do some paper piecing, and that's really where, well, any type of piecing. I just love a clapper for piecing. And I'm excited to have different sizes because sometimes I feel like I'm not using the right size. It's too big, it's too small. Now I'm just going to have everything and it's going to be just right. Okay. Let me just make sure I have everything down right. So we did the blue, then we have this piece, then we just sewed our line right here. We're going to trim it, and then we're going to lay down light blue. Light blue gets laid down next. The light blue floral. Okay, 1/4 inch seam allowance. They're hard maple. It seems so silly to be like excited about how they feel in the hand, but like they're so, I can't even tell you. They're so nice. Pull this back. Next is going to be the dark blue, the dark solid blue. Slide it on. This is your trim line. Make sure it doesn't get caught on anything. If you're off a little bit, it's okay because you've got that 1/4 inch seam allowance, but you just don't want to be flipping back fabric and have it just cover your batting. Extend that line. Lay down your dark blue. Stitch your 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm going to center it to that stitch. So there's lots of ways you can do this. Clover folding pen, pressing and clappering, spray, just finger fold, glue stick. You can do any way you want. I don't recommend this spray if you are crazy with your spray and you have a tough time. Okay. This is going to go up and to the right, and then we're going to lay down a piece of the, I think this one is, I can't remember if this is Ice Castle or Seafoam. One or the other. We're going to go ahead and trim. Lay this one down. And I don't focus on making this perfect. That cut does not have to be perfect. Center to the stitch. Down. Stitch it down. 1/4 inch seam allowance. Yeah, Cheryl, you are blessed. Because Patrick is pretty handy and he can figure stuff out, but he's never going to build me anything. I always get jealous of those ladies that, well, you know, he's so great. So what am I getting jealous of? But if you could add wood shop worker to his resume, that would be amazing. Here we go. This dark piece here too. Look at, I do see that, like, I wish that was over a little bit further because I do see that shadowing right there. So maybe also on your, maybe I'll put in the notes to also put it on this, or if this had just covered that. Yeah, because I can see that. I see what you're saying, and you know what, Susan? That would have absolutely have driven me crazy. I'm just going to go with it on this piece. But we'll put a note. I'm going to add that right now. So we're going to put something in here that says Shape Flex on back of white and mint green pieces for Rose. Ah! I'm writing on my Shout Hooray instructions. All right, I'll do that later. I just don't want to forget. Let's go ahead and trim that across. What piece goes down now? It's going to be the dark blue. Dark blue goes down, center it to your stitch, and that's your placement line. 1/4 inch seam allowance. And we're going to fold it back. I gave him But do you gals and gents, don't you love your clapper? Like, you go, how much can it really help? And then you use it and you go, oh my goodness, it totally helps. Okay. Okay. It totally makes a difference. You become a believer once you use it. We have built 3 houses. Wow. That is, you're like Joanna. Oh my God, I always thought she was so amazing, or I think she's so amazing. What's their show? Joanna Gaines? What show is? Okay, now we're going to put one of our white pieces down. So let's look at our measurements and make sure we do the right one. So trim close to the stitch line. You're going to place background 10 fabric, right side up, with one long edge centered on the placement line. Okay, piece 10. Piece 10 is 2x3. So just grab one of your 2x3s. I think that would be so amazing, except I'm horrible at making decisions and picking stuff. So that's why I don't do anything to our house. It just stays the way it is, and I paint everything white because I am the queen of buyer's remorse. I want to see your sewing room, Miss Cheryl. Let's see what you got the third time around. Because I bet it's amazing. Okay, we're going to fold this back. Lay it down. Finger fold pretty hard. Next step, it's going to sew right down here on the side. And this is piece 11. Let's check our measurements for piece 11. And when I'm checking my measurements, I'm just going right back to page number 14. And piece 11 is also one of the 2x3s. We're probably going to work from the inside out and do smaller pieces to larger pieces, what I'm guessing. But we want to check too. Oh, Chip and Joanne. I love them. They're just the cutest. And she's so good at picking stuff. I don't have that talent. So, and you know what? I tried to work with a designer once, and that didn't work for me either because, like, I like what I like. So we just don't do anything. Patrick forces me. He's like, if you don't pick window coverings by next week, I'm going to pick them. Yeah, that's a great idea too, to add like interfacing, right? That's like a great idea. You can just add that. Like I could have put a little piece right there or something that was lighter. Let me flip this back. So I had a customer come in. Her son-in-law came in, and because he built his mother-in-law's she shed, it was beautiful. He put like a chandelier out there, which was it was just such a sweet touch. And then he did like he built a table for her, but he just the legs he put on it and the front of it, because it had like a little scroll to it. It was just so thoughtful, all the little things that he did. All right, and this piece we are gonna put, what did I put down? 11. This is going to be piece 12. So piece 12, I'm turning back. Piece 12 is another 2x3. There we go. It's our last 2x3. Susan, thanks for the call because I can tell already. I'm going to love it having added the Shape Flex. And if you don't have Shape Flex, put something in it. Just like So Crafty says. So Crafty Marlene? Who's So Crafty? Some of them I don't have your handles memorized. Okay, this piece is going to be piece 13. 13 is going to be one of your 2.5. So these are the longest pieces. 13 is a long one. Did you read Taylor and her boyfriend broke up? I was so upset. And I'm so upset because I was just reading that she's 33, and not that she wants kids, but if she does want kids, I want her to have, she needs to have them now. This is just coming from somebody that struggled, that Patrick and I really struggled. And so my fertility doctor, my kids are actually frozen embryo transfers, and he told us that once you hit 35, your fertility, everything starts to degrade. It kind of like, it's off the cliff. So now I'm worried about her because she's got to find a husband. You don't have to these days. Lots of women are doing it without. That might show, huh? This right here. I'm going to see if I can kind of go closer. I might fold that over a little bit more too, but I could see that being like something that would drive me crazy. I'm going to actually, because that's thicker, let's go ahead and clapper it and iron it. Which I almost never do, but it's got the shape flex on it, and I do want it to sit nice and flat. So I'm going to take it out. When I clapper, I do give it a little shot of best press. Make sure you're not touching the plastic parts of your hoop. This is another reason. Oh, it is beautiful. Can't get that with just finger pressing. And then you clapper, and you can't believe just how like beautiful and flat and gorgeous. Like you can't compare my seam, this seam that I just clappered, to this seam that I just finger pressed. Looks good. And that little clapper was so nice. Okay, I'm going to slide my hoop back on. I probably won't clapper again. I'm going to clapper on my own, but I want us to get through our project. So I'm going to just flip and fold, but I'm definitely going to clapper these once I start filming on my own. It just, you've got to feel it. You've got to like clapper, feel it, touch it, compared to what you get without the clapper. There's just no comparison. That flat seam, the way that the heat gets trapped in there, and just, I mean, clappers have been around forever. They're used for tailors, tailor clappers. I'm just going through layers at a time. And I might take that next piece. The next piece that's going down, so we just did, it's going to be piece 14, and I think 14 is the shorter one. But let me confirm. 14 is the 2.5 by 4. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just push this down a little bit to make sure that that blue gets covered over. So if you put it right on the line, it's going to do the 1/4 inch. It's going to be a little bit more than a 1/4 inch, but I have room on this side for sure because it's Kimberbell. So you know that they made it, where did I cut from? I think there it is. Make sure you center it. And I'm going to go over the line a little bit and then do my 1/4 inch. Don't you feel like, who was that Blythe that just said that her oldest was an IVF baby? Don't you feel so lucky that you had, like I feel so lucky that I was able to have a baby. I think we kind of figured out I had bad tubes. You're right. She's no dummy. That girl is no dummy. Shoot. I can't help myself, Lynn. I'm going to clapper it. Just feeling my clappered piece and my unclappered ones. OESD event is going to be on, I think it's October 21st. There we go. Let's put it back in. That's like me and like unstitching stuff. I go, I'm not going to do it, or I'm just going to do that much, and then I can't help myself. Okay. I think we have 2 more pieces. That was piece 14. Now we're going to do piece 15. Oh, yeah, the dime event. The dime event is just a free event that's going to be, I think it's on the 19th of the month. I think there was like a problem with the link, so that's been fixed. So if you were having trouble like signing up for that. And the dime event's going to be, the OESD event's going to be an in-person event. I told Patrick, I was like, Patrick, and I'm not rushing you, but in the month of August, let's find our venue. Like, I want to just get that nailed down. That was part of it, just getting the venue for us, because it'll be a large event. Okay, step 15 is going to be, or piece 15 is one of the little ones. Center it to that stitch line. Place it in. Do your quarter. Whoop. I actually want to have it go a little bit over that. So mine's going to be a little beefier than just a 1/4 inch. For time's sake, I'm just going to spray. Cheryl, are you saying the last event you went to gave you a panic attack? It wasn't A1, right? Our event was so much fun. Not as nice as the clapper, but we're just going to go ahead and get this one done. And then I think we have one more piece. It's going to be the last big piece. Make sure your foot doesn't scoot anything. And I'm so happy for the... Oh, okay. I got really scared because I didn't see my last piece and I was scared it was going to be stuck to the bottom of this. But there it is. We got through 2 embroideries so far and it's already 12:30 my time. Well, if Patrick is down for it, I'll just go and have lunch and maybe I'll come back and, well, we'll have to see. Let me see what he says. Because that man needs to get his groove on, his exercise on. So was it this that you unstitched? Like right here, Susan? Just getting a little bit of this off. I think that'll make a difference. All right, we're going to lay down our last piece. Center it to that placement line. I'm going to go over a little bit. My God. I can't wait to have cheese from Wisconsin. Is cheese from Wisconsin really awesome? We went to, this was a really funny story. So Patrick and we took the family and we went up to visit, I think we went skiing in Big Sky or something. Can't remember where it was. How cute is this? Now it's going to do an outline stitch around the whole thing. Let me go ahead. Just watch all this. Make sure nothing gets folded back. This is basically going to be your trim line too. You're going to fussy cut to this line. I really should do a color. I feel like it's hard to fussy cut. And watch that piece because that's, if anything gets folded back, it's going to be that piece. We were in Big Sky. Our friend from Wyoming, I mean, he just brought shishito peppers. Well, we cooked the shishito peppers. Kai was playing video games, didn't come down, but Steve said these are Wyoming shishito peppers. So when Kai got down, we'd eaten them all, so he missed out on them. And he's like, he was so upset because he goes, but those shishito peppers were Wyoming shishito peppers. But they weren't really. It's not like they were growing there. They were just brought down from there, and he was so sad. So I want to know, is that Wisconsin cheese? Is it that good? I love cheese. Okay. Shoot, I didn't even read my directions. Don't pop that out of the hoop, just in case. That was it. We stitched the outer tack down line, and we are done with that one. We are not going to do another one. You know how to do it. And Susan gave us all the tips and tricks, so you're not going to have any shadowing. But look at my shadowing on that piece. Look at that. That's probably what would have happened under all those white pieces if we didn't put the shape flex. I'll add that to the note that you should definitely shape flex the mint green pieces. I guess you don't have to do that one, but you definitely have to do that one. And I definitely would have, that would have bothered me if I had seen that on my entire, it's bothering me right now just seeing that. That is bothering me. So I'm glad it's not all over. Let's go ahead and move on. Next one is, I'm trying to think if there's anything complicated. Maybe we should do the dimensional leaves just to get those out of the way. I'm doing mine with tearaway. If you did, and I know we're not doing that in order, but let's go ahead and turn to that page. It's page 33. We're going to unhoop this. We are using tearaway. So I want you to grab a piece of tearaway. And we're going to do those dimensional leaves. Here's some tearaway for me. I have a huge thing of leftover stabilizer from other events. So I'm just going to hoop it right here. And I'll leave the rest and we'll use it on something else. Do you think it would work if you put foam under part of the rose to give it? You could. I feel like it's kind of thick though. You know, all of the stitching. But yeah, you could definitely put foam in there. Foam makes everything cuter. When it's puffy, it's like puppies. It's like chubby babies and chubby puppies. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put that in. And let's do these. The reason I'm thinking tearaway is if you did the vintage boardwalk quilt, they had you put either cutaway or like a soft cutaway, and they were hard to turn. I don't know if these are going to be bigger and so they're easier to turn, but I found that it was just easier just to do it with tearaway. Tear the tearaway away so there's nothing in there, and then turn them. So we're going to go ahead and do this, and then we'll get back to our regular stitching. We're breaking the order. All right. This is, oh my God, I keep grabbing my Shout Hooray instructions. We're going to do, these are the, where am I looking for them? Dimensional leaf. And these are, we're going to be tying these into like little bows, and these get put on, let me turn to the page. Dimensional leaves, page 33. I don't know. Did somebody do them already? And if you did them and you did them with the cutaway and it was totally fine, it's just going to make it easier to just do it. So these are going to be what we're doing, and they go onto the roses. So I'm going to go home. We're still using our 5x7 hoop embroidery. Let me go ahead and pull up the design. And then while we're stitching, I'll show you how to clip them and turn them right side out. I don't even, do they have you stitch them shut? I don't even think, you're not even going to stitch them shut. And then you just tie it in a little bow. The ones from Vintage Boardwalk, you've got to do it with tearaway. Otherwise, I mean, they are hard to turn. So we're going to do these. I'm going to set it. We're in our 5x7. You could flip them this way, or I'm just going to move this one right up here to this corner. Go to edit. Don't go add, because it's easier. Just make a copy. And I don't know which one moved. That's why I usually will move it with the arrows. And that's all we're going to do. So now I'm going to space them out. I think I moved the wrong one. So we're going to move. That one I'm just going to center, and then I'll scoot it straight up. Okay. And okay, we're good to go. I'm going to go embroidery. And we could go ahead and color group all of these. Layout. This is color grouping. It's going to do all the placement all at once and all the stitching all at once. We might have to stop it in between if we're going to use different thread colors. So let's read the directions. Make sure I'm not leading you astray. I haven't done these in a while. I'm looking at your notes. I was worried about Taylor when I saw that. I was like, oh my God, what if she wants a baby? She needs to have a baby now. But I guess you can wait if you can wait if you're gonna like, she could be like 50, just use a surrogate with her eggs. On the back of the fabric to make it stiff. So are you talking about like right now, putting it on the back of these? Will there be a Shout Hooray? Shout Hooray is supposed to start on Monday, next Monday. So I got to get this pillow done. Oh, so delightful done all this week. Because I want to do Shout Hooray in 2 sittings. This really should be in 2 sittings. So we might do what we have now and then meet again next week. And then after that, we might do Shout Hooray the 2 weeks after that. Because I want to do the pillow on the serger. I want to do piping, show you all how to do that. Okay, so let's look at our instructions. We loaded it. It wants to do the placement line. Then we're going to place 2 leaf fabric pieces right sides together. And then we're going to stitch. So color doesn't make a difference in any of these. So we can just do it all in one sitting. So first I'm going to, you know what? I want a color right now. So I'm going to put a green in. Let me put my white out of the way, and I am going to grab, this green looks so pretty. This is Thyme. Don't be too aggressive with that, because I've seen people grab it and pull it off and pull like half their thread off too. I may have done something like that myself. I'm just going to use this because this is going to go with all our colors. And you're not going to see it. Whoop. Look, I'm still clipped in there. Make sure you get it out of the bottom part. If I can just get this all filmed and done, there will be, no, they're so long. If I can't get it all filmed and done, then I'll do another one on Monday. But I think I'm going to be able to get it all done. Susan, how long did it take you to stitch it all out? Was this a weekend project? Cindy, you are right. Maybe she doesn't even want to have kids. Lots of kids these days, when I say kids, I'm like talking like, teens, 20s, 30s. A lot of them don't even want kids. And I totally respect that decision. My concern is if she does want them. Then I want her to get on it. Oh, I'm so sorry it's not there yet. Did you get it from us? I can check your shipping. Oh my God. Renata, really? They make those decisions. My son said he doesn't want kids. And granted, he's 17, so that could change. And then I asked Violet, I go, Violet, do you want kids? And she said yes. And I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. Because I can't imagine, not having grandkids. I was one of those kids. I was one of those people that I don't think my life would be complete without kids, right? But I totally respect that there's some kids out there that know they don't want them. And I'm like, yeah, that's the best decision for you. Okay, let me grab my fabric. Remember, right sides together. So I'm going to go ahead. We're not going to, you don't need to spray these down. You could actually spray one of them down because we're doing the wrong side. You know what? Let me do that. It's not, kids aren't like they were before. It's not like, you got to get married and you got to have kids and they go in that order. It's a lot more fluid and they do what they want. My son, I think, would find the whole kid thing really stressful. But I still want him to have one. I want grandchildren. I can't believe I'm talking about that. Okay, I'm going to spray this, and then I'm just going to lay it down. I'm only spraying one side. I'm going to lay these down. And it doesn't matter what order. They're all the same. I don't want kids. You don't want the kids. You just want the grandkids, Cheryl. Check. Make sure you're covering the whole thing. I mean, yeah. I just can't wait to do all this things like, oh my God. I just had my mom's mom. I didn't know my dad's mom that well because she came to the States like in her 60s and she had had a stroke. So, I didn't know her pre-stroke. So, she was partially paralyzed and couldn't speak. And, but my other grandmother, my mom's mom, oh my God, I loved her. I miss her so much. And I spent a lot of time with her. Like I spent months at a time. I would go over to Korea and stay with her. Okay, we are going to go ahead and stitch. Just make sure nothing moves. And, I don't know. I just think it's going to be great. I love being a mom. I can't wait to be a grandma too. Grandkids are much more fun. I'm pretty close to that edge up there. I could kind of scoot this up a little bit if I want, but it'll be fine. I am going to remove the tearaway completely. I want to do it all. I could see myself fostering too. So, I think that's awesome you want to go to Korea. I'm hoping, the kids are going to Utah. They have a campus. University of Utah has a legit campus I was close to that edge, in Korea. And I cannot wait to go over there and see my kids and my mom's side of the family and all that. Korea's fun. You know what I did is, number one, I should have, because I hooped this way, I should have scooted these down here. And then I'd have all of that up above. But it's just a piece of tearaway. And I can use this other end for something else. But I wasn't even paying attention to that. Busy talking. Okay, I'm going to take this out. I'm going to remove that stabilizer completely. You want to be careful with your stitches too. You don't want to grab it from here and just start ripping. You want to support these stitches. So I'm going to kind of support them as I rip them. And then we'll go ahead and we'll trim our fabric. I guess I was traumatized from doing those other ones from Vintage Boardwalk. They were hard to turn. Really, really hard to turn. So I'm going to tear away all the tearaway, and then I'm going to tear away inside, and then we're going to clip and turn. Being a grandma is beyond words. A love you never knew until you hold them. Oh my good. So Shauna came in, and I know a lot of you don't know Shauna, but Shauna used to work for us. And and Alex, her husband, is one of our techs who still works for us. She brought her baby in, and I was holding that baby, and I was like, because I always go, I've told my kids, like, I go, you don't know, maybe I'm going to be a horrible grandma. Maybe I'm going to be too tired, and I'm going to say, well, they're really cute, but take them home. So, but I held that baby, and I was like, I'm going to love being a grandma. But you know, my kids are 17. I mean, we're a ways off from it. And but I go, what if they wait? Because I didn't have my kids because we struggled. Patrick and I got married, and I was 29, and then it took us 5 years to have kids. So what if my kids, and a lot of people, a lot of the young ones that are having kids now, they're waiting. They're waiting until they're older. And I go, well, you know, if I'm 65, like maybe I'll be more tired when I'm 75, or maybe I just don't know. But I held that baby and I was like, ooh, that felt good. I think I am going to love being a grandma, and I think I'll be fine. I think I'll have enough energy. Okay, so this is me. I use tearaway, and I'm gonna remove all of it. Okay, now they want you to go ahead and trim. So we're gonna go ahead and trim around this about 1/4 of an inch. I'm gonna grab my Kai scissors. If I can find them, if I can dig them out of the bottom of this, or my Gingers, whichever ones. We're going to trim around it at about 1/4 of an inch. My son is on the fence. I know some, like, I have some, friends, and their kids never had kids, and they wanted to be grandparents. That would be really hard. If you really want grandkids, if they didn't give you any, I think I would latch on. I'd make my kids, my friends' kids, my grandkids. Okay, this is the end. This is the end where there's no stitching. So I'm not going to go quite as close there. Go a little bit closer here. I'm reading your notes. Just watching. Oh my goodness. Renata, that must be so hard. Oh wait, they're foster parents, and then they have to give you become a foster parent, fall in love with the kid, and then they have to give them back. Is that what we're talking about? Oh yeah, I can't even. Whoop, here, I don't want to be super close right there. That's the side without any stitching. But that is, you're just going to tie that in a knot. It's just going to get covered right up. Okay, we're going to clip into those curves. I love these scissors because I like a blade because I have the long shears, right? But sometimes they're just too big. When they're smaller, you can have some more control with it. If you want, you can just go ahead, cut that tip part. Make sure you don't cut into the stitch. Don't get greedy. And then the curvier is, the more clips you do. And we're just going to clip close to it, but not to it. Be careful. This is the side that has, and this is just a straightaway, so you don't even have to clip right there. We're going to clip around here. That's pretty straight there, but now we're going around the corner. Okay, right here is where there's no stitching. I'm going to give it a clip right here and here. Be careful. Okay. Oop, did I do that one? I did. We are going to turn it inside out. You might want to grab your point turner. I think this is going to be a perfect time for my OESD point turner. Where are you? I also bought these. I wonder if this will work. I'm making a good old mess here. There you are. All right, I bought these. These are just like hemostats. Are they always called hemostats? I'm going to see if I can grab with this. If I could just put it in there and grab. Am I even separated? There we go. Be gentle. Remember, you're a sewing surgeon. You need the right tool for the right job. Don't get greedy on that corner. And I tend to, although I was using it right now, I tend to almost use the big end because I've just had that little end go right through. You know how heartbreaking that is when you like push right through. Okay. I wonder if I could just take this and push it through. What's going to be easiest? Maybe that was pretty easy. I'm going to go grab it again. Gentle. You just want to be gentle. You're birthing the baby. Wonder if once I get it through, if I can just push it through with this. And I'm not going to do all of these because let's start something else. We'll start one more and then we'll go break for lunch. I didn't do a good job with that, did I? Oop, there we go. It was like the last push. Okay, big end. You could give this a little press if you want. Gently poke the corners with a blunt tip to square. I like to just kind of rub it like just like that. I'm going to heat up my iron. We're going to give it a little press, and then we're just going to tie this in a little overhand knot right here. And this is something that you can work on while something else is stitching out. So we can be multitasking. So I still have to do these. Let me go ahead and move this out of the way. We'll see you later, Susan. And it was pretty easy, but the knots are annoying, right? So just use the just use tearaway because the knot's going to be so easy. It's annoying when it's really bulky, but if it's not too bulky, oh my goodness, what a mess. Okay, my iron's still heating up, but I'm impatient, so I'm going to go talking about the pillow again. The hardest part for me was tying the tiny knot in those things. Are we talking about this? It's good. I know, it is hard, especially if you're using all that stabilizer, but if you don't put that in there and you just do this, it's going to be so easy. Just want to grab that, just fluff it down, make sure it's even. There we go. And And if you have, like, I could see a raw edge right there, just flip it over. Ooh, I'm not even. That's okay. It'll be beautiful. Just like a little asymmetric. Isn't that cute? So much easier. It's going to be so much easier if you don't put that stabilizer in it, if you just do it with your regular tearaway. So I want to hoop up. Let's get one more thing done. You can work on these while you're stitching out when you get to the boring parts and you're stitching out. Let's go ahead and get back to our list. That we're doing it that way because, like I said, I was traumatized by doing the other ones. And when we did that project and the ladies were struggling, the ladies and the gents were struggling to do their bows, I was like, just bring it to me. Because I have little hands and I just pulled it into that knot. We have done, we've only done 1, 2, 3, and then this. We have all of this to do. Let's go ahead and let's do our Dresden flower next. So we're going to do that in our 5x7 hoop. Just grab your fabric from the rows. I'm going to cut these two off because these don't even go to this one. I always turn it to the back so I can see where my stitching is. And I like to just cut in between. I'm going to throw this in my Oh So Delightful box. It's ready to finish up along with my May Cuties, along with my April Cuties, which is just layered and ready to go. Let me hoop up again. We're hooping in our 5x7. That's gonna bother me. I don't like it. So this is, I mean, you're gonna pretty much fussy cut around that line. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut this off, not to the line, but kind of closer. So it's not in my way for this hooping. You don't need it. Go ahead and put this in here. I like to see a little bit right under. That to me is like the perfect hooping. It's a little bulky there, so we'll just go like this. This is good enough. It's a little bulky. Ugh. There we go. It's pretty tight. Make sure you burp your hoop, meaning you make sure these edges are even. The front, the inner hoop is flush with the outer hoop. I can't even tighten this anymore. It's really snug. So I'm just going to put it on just like this. Is this just so cute? I just can't wait. And I like it where it's a little, you know, where it's not totally perfect. Sometimes I like things like that. Could untie it. All right, let's go home. We are going to go into embroidery. Our quilting design is, I mean, then we have mushroom. Life is better. These aren't going to take that long. I'm going to go for it today. Quilting bundle, Life is Better quilting. What am I on? I am on Spring 2. Spring 2. I need 4x6. 4x4, 4x6. Set. Add. And we are adding the Dresden flower. Dresden flower. Where are you? This is the same flower that was in Tweetheart. And everything's centered. So is that one just centered too? Let me make sure I didn't make any mistakes. I'm gonna check my book and just check that Dresden flower and make sure he's not supposed to be centered. Yeah, he's centered. We're gonna go embroidery. I just touched embroidery on the bottom. I'm gonna go layout, move, scoot him up to the very top. Okay. And first color doesn't make a difference. I still have that green in there. I'm just going to leave it. Let me get my fabric and let me get my thread colors. Okay, I put a note on mine, so this one needs flex foam, so I'm going to make sure I grab my flex foam too. There is not a lot going on here, so I'm going to take my, as long as this doesn't go flying up, this is my batting. Let's get the bumpy side up in my fabric. Let's go ahead and lay this down. I'm going to lay it right in here. And I just didn't worry if it was like completely perfect or not. And then I'm going to lay down my background fabric. Just framing it. Ooh, one of my children are, so they're going to come barging through the door in just a second, just so you know. And they'll probably be shouting something out to me. Hi, there's child number 1. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead. So let's go right here. That's where you go forward and backwards. That's tack down for the batting, placement for the background, tack down for the background. Let's go ahead and tack it down. We're going to stitch after it does this. Oh, we have to do our quilting stitch first. So I'm going to put my white in. And let's go ahead and do our quilting stitch. Look how cute it is. I keep going, you know, I have so many quilting designs. I'm just going to use what I have. But then they have like, you know, it's just the cutest design. And I don't think I've used any of my quilting designs other than on that project that they were made for. So Kimberbell has it figured out. They get us to buy. Okay, here's the quilting. And then for my flowers, I think I'm going to go back to using, was it sage? I think it was sage. I'm going to use sage just to keep it consistent. I'm going to use that for my leaf and stem. And I'm going full in isocord. So these are the 3 colors that I'm using for the flower. For my hot pink, it's 2320. For my medium pink, 2530. And for my light pink, 2363. So this is what I'm going to be using right here. While it's doing this, I am going to work on my spreadsheet to add those notes. Oh, actually I can't because I'm using this for the live feed. Where will I find my sheet? So Michelle, I emailed it to, if you bought your kit from me, then I emailed it to you. If you didn't, no worries. You can get it. It's on the Facebook page. And I'm going to revise it a little bit because I'm going to be adding in these colors and some notes about how you should put Shapeflex for those roses on those back of the light pieces. So there's version 1 is up, and you can go to the A1 back, and so it's our sew along group. So there's a group on our Facebook page that's for, it's A1 sew along. And you can either look at the post, it was the last post that I posted, or just go to the files tab. There's a files tab and all of the spreadsheets are there for all the projects since I've been making the spreadsheets. Some of the older projects, there's no spreadsheets because it was kind of a newer thing that's evolved. And then if you don't have Facebook, you can email me and I'll add you to this group so you'll get the updates for it. Cute. Oh, this one, oh, it's 24 minutes of stitching. So we're going to stitch this one out and that'll be it. But I will go ahead and film. I'll film some stuff. I really want to get this one done today. It's just, who's going to be watching the dogs? And they might come downstairs. Don't be mad if they're barking. That's what they do. It's like how they show their joy. Okay, so this is sage. I'm going to write the colors in here too. So I'm going to use sage. And then I'm using Isocord 2320. And Isocord 2530. And Isocord 2363. Who's Bertha? Is Bertha, which machine do you have? She should like all the threads. I gotta be honest, I did have issues with Selkie. I had a black Selkie that broke all the time. But other than that, my machine has loved everything. It's not a picky eater. If you want something a little brighter than this, you can also use this one. And this one's going to be Clover. It's going to be a little brighter. I love Isocord. I love Isocord. I love Glide. I'm trying to think of what my machines had problems with. And I think she's pretty much liked it all. Okay, pick out your pinks. So have these ready. The other colors I thought about doing, this is Glide's Hot Pink. I was like, oh, I could do that. And then this, we used to carry Polyfast in the store. Then I was like, ooh, and a super light pink. That's kind of tempting to do like a light pink. So whatever pinks you want to use. I love that you name your machine. Your Viking Epic. Well, then I always say feed them what they want. If your Viking Epic likes Isocord, feed it to them. I'm 7 minutes in. Maybe we should do one more after this because it's 1:03. Okay, who doesn't love mushrooms? Oh, I love mushrooms and woodland creatures. Like the little deers and the squirrels and the fox. Oh, it looks so pretty. I love this new fabric. This is one of their new pinstripe fabrics. I love once where like one of my sleeves is done and I can just rip this off and put it away and I just be like, ooh, I'm getting there. I'm like, my project's getting done. This away. It would be so awesome if I could bring my machine with me and to finish all my projects. Wouldn't that be amazing? But I can't. Who lives in DC? Can I come to your house and use your machine? I wonder if I'm gonna be super busy. For some reason, I feel like I'm gonna have a lot of time on my hand when the kids are going and doing their thing. Okay, I'm going to put in my hot pink first, which is gorgeous. I wish the Isocord threads had the colors on them. So let's do our hot pink. Perfect, Michelle. Yeah, if you can find, and I think if you just looked up A1 Sew Along group, you'll be able to find it. And then once you're there, there's a whole bunch of little tabs, and then one of them says file. And it's going to be the last one that I posted. It'll say, I think it says LIFE in, maybe life in. I can't remember what it has on there. So go ahead and stitch out your hot pink. Then we're going to do light pink. I made the medium pink, the light pink. You're going to need, I think you need a yellow as well. And the yellow I'm using is Buttercup. So pretty. Let me write that in my notes. Pistachio, sage. Okay, Bertha and Rose. I've never named my machine. In the settings or like on the last page, I just called it my baby. But I just call her my Lumi. My Luminaire. I a customer, they're Valiant. It was Prince Valiant, which I thought was really cute. Michelle names all her machines. They all have cute names. Chelsea. So then I go, okay, why Chelsea? Like, is that just a name you love? Or you looked at her and she just looked like a Chelsea? I think if I named mine, I told Violet, I'd probably name mine Hazel because I love that name. I've asked her to please have a little girl and to name her Hazel. But if I don't get a Hazel grandchild, I guess I'll settle for a Hazel sewing machine. I need a grandchild named Hazel. If I don't get a grandchild named Hazel, I think I'm going to have to get a dog and name her Hazel. That is the name that popped into my head. Yeah, it must be a name you love. Naming her cars. Isn't this funny? Like, this is the same color thread, but because of the direction the thread is, it looks totally different on the top. think that's so cool. The normal brat. Jocelyn. That's because we name them, right? Because they're like our children. I guess I never name mine because I'm not creative. Like, I'm not creative with that kind of stuff. Pullman. She was fascinated. Grab the thread. Was done with that. Okay, so are we talking about Trouble, Cheryl? Is it Trouble that named it Pullman? I think Michelle named all of hers. See, I have to talk about Michelle and what she's named hers because I haven't named any of mine. But I think she did all princesses, like Disney princesses. Sid's little sister. Okay, next pink. Put in your next pink. Part of me goes, now I'm having like remorse and I go, should I do this one because it's not quite as bright? I'm going to do this one. I know I gave you that number, but this one seems a little more toned down. It's still pretty bright. So I just put in a Polyfast and it's 9197. I don't even know if you can tell the difference. Okay, so we're going to do this, and then I'm going to put in my light pink. Gretchen. I love these. Oh my goodness. I had a customer, and they brought in their machine, and I can't even remember the name of her machine, but she said something to her husband, like, let's say it was Gretchen, and she was like, talking about Gretchen, and he was like, who's Gretchen? And she's like, you don't even know the name of my machine. She was so upset. It struck me as really funny. It was really cute because she loves her machine so much. And her husband's like, who's that? Cute. Should I go super light pink? Or this? You know what? I'm going super light pink. So now my colors have all changed. I couldn't stay the course. I'm going super light pink for the last one. This is Brother. This is 124. When I'm stitching out a Brother design, I use the Brother thread. Thought about pink lemonade. This is a glide color. There's just so many colors. Was the stem of the flower supposed to be positioned below the bottom line? So before we started stitching, I looked again at the instructions and I don't think it is. Hopefully I read it right. So, and it says align the block embroidery file with the quilting design file so that both files are centered. So I don't think so, because they'll tell you, they'll tell you to move it. So I did not. I just left it centered. And this right here is, we're going to fussy cut to this like my outline stitch. So if you're sewing a 1/4 inch, that the bottom end of that should get sewn into the seam. And even if it's a little bit above, that would be fine too. We are 17 minutes, or I'm 17 minutes into 24 minutes. We've got 2 more of the medium pink petals. I cleaned up before. Look at my thread mess. That's what happens. And it happens so fast. All that thread was like laid out, looked so pretty, it was all organized. And then it turned into this. Okay, after the Dresden flower, I do want to do that mushroom. And I don't know why I'm just sitting here. This is the perfect time for you to be, finishing off those little bows. Why am I wasting time? What's wrong with me? Okay, I'm gonna trim the very tops, or the very corner parts, and now let's just clip it in. Careful. This makes the time go so much faster too when you're doing something. Okay, not gonna go right to that edge. And yeah, you know, I didn't even think about that. You should clip on the side. Like this side can be confusing, right? Clip on this side. There's not as much going on and you can see better. Grab my hemostats. All right, I'm gonna put in my light pink. Whatever light pink you have. Could put First Kiss in. I'm putting in this like baby pink I have. So pretty. We haven't done a challenge in a while. Like we used to do a challenge like twice a year. But I think the first challenge we did was a Disney Princess quilt. And, okay, there's 4 of these. While that's happening, I'm going to go ahead and turn this right side out. Okay, I think this is the trick, kind of pulling it back over. Yeah, that was so easy. See how easy that was? Okay, so grab it and then kind of pull the fabric over as you go. Don't just try to pull the forceps through or the hemostats through. And just kind of roll this along the edge so it's turned out the best it can be turned out. I'm going to heat up my iron so we can press these and then we'll just tie them into knots again. Okay, trim it from this side where you have the pretty stitch. I wonder when Patrick's gonna come down and be like, hey, you done yet? We'll just keep stitching until he comes down. Yesterday he climbed a mountain and skied down it. Right, let's give him a little press. If we can find a spot. Who made this mess? All right. Just in time. Okay, I'm gonna press these and then we can and then I'll tie them bows after this. All right, next step. We want to stitch out the center for the flex foam. So color doesn't make a difference. We know where that center is. So let's skip this step, the placement line, and let's just do the tack down, right? Orange is tack down, don't forget that. And color doesn't make a difference. I have a huge thing of flex foam right here. And flex foam doesn't really move around, so I'm just going to do that. However, I'm going to watch and make sure it doesn't scoop the foot at all. So the difference between, this is just Pellon. Oh, there, I was a little worried it was going to go underneath the foot, but it didn't. Pellon's a little bit thicker. I like the Kimberbell stuff. I just keep forgetting to grab a pack to bring it home. But it's a little bit thinner. I'd say it's like 2/3 the thickness. So we're going to go ahead and trim this close to the stitch. And then it wants to do another placement line. We don't need that because you know exactly where it's going to go. Why do stuff you don't need to do? So Sorry, it's rocking. Stuff is flying everywhere. Okay, find your center. Where did I put it? It's going to be this piece right here. I'm going to give it a little shot of spray. Oh my goodness, it's so cute. I'm going diagonal again. That's so cute. Let me make sure I'm doing the right step. Oh, okay. So I am on placement though. Not that it would have made a difference. Placement goes around once. Tactile is going to go around twice. So make sure you fast forward. Go ahead and I'm just going to hold my fabric a little bit to make sure it doesn't slide and get pushed. So cute. We're going to trim it and then you're going to do the decorative outline. And we are almost done. Let me go ahead and just trim this up. Decorative outline, usually when it says that, it's going to be that Kimberbell stitch, so get it nice and close. Okay. Then the next step says do not stitch, design placement line. And then we're done with this one. Hang on a second. Did you see that? So silly. I didn't change my thread, so it's still the pink. I could have just left it. Let me go put my buttercup in. Buttercup's the color that I'm using. You could use cornflower too. Cornflower is really, really pretty too. Buttercup is on the floor. Let me grab that. I'm going to go back, forward, back. Is this strike 3? Is this number 3? Mistake. Good things come in threes. A little thick now because it has to go all over that, but it'll be okay. Can't even tell. And while it's doing that, I can go ahead and tie these. Before you pull it, distribute it. I'm going to grab those ends so they're nice and flat. And then you have a gorgeous, these are just so cute. And they're so easy and fun to do without the stabilizer in it. But if you feel like challenging yourself, and maybe punishing yourself, leave the stabilizer in. Leave it in. But if you feel like you just want to have fun, then just use the tearaway. Oh my goodness, so cute. Is that just adorable? Don't you love these? I'm gonna put a bow on like everything now. Wouldn't that be cute? Okay. Next step we skip. And we are back to the beginning. So we're done with that. I am actually going to sign off right now. I'll go ahead. I'm gonna go have some lunch. Go see the kids and the dog, and then I will come back and I think I'll do a little bit more stitching as long as I can. Thanks so much for joining me. If you need the spreadsheet, like I said, it should be on the Facebook page, the A1 Sew Along Facebook page. Hopefully I can film everything this week. As long as I can film everything this week, we are going to do Shout Hooray starting on Monday. I'll let you know by the end of the week. I do have that spreadsheet almost done. I guess I could put it up just in our first iteration, but it might change. So have a great day. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you tomorrow on the live feed.